Very good.
All right, great. Everybody?
All right, good.
Yeah, something good, man. So here with Greg, we're going to be doing a retrospective of 2025 movies. And don't worry, we're not gonna rake over the coals of Snow White and Captain America: Brave New Cape shit or any of that rubbish. We're mostly going to be focusing on stuff we haven't talked about a lot in our channels, and we'll just gloss over the stuff you've heard about in many other videos and the stuff that's been done to death. So we'll be going through about 50 movies here. We're trying to get it done in 2.5 hours, so it'll be good. And we're also planning to do an Oscar stream. That's that one's a bit more ambitious. We're going to be doing that one next week and talking about all the Oscars movies, which we are both watching at the minute. Well, I haven't started watching them yet. I've seen some of them, but haven't had time to get through them all. So I'll be starting my Oscars movie watch today. Yeah, and Razzies. I always do the Razzies. You don't have to do the Razzies with me, Greg. I wouldn't force you to suffer through that.
I don't know if we're gonna talk about Mickey 17, which we will tonight. I could talk about that one for an hour. God,
tell you what, though, man, I'm not even kidding. I had more fun watching the Razzies movies last year than I did watching the Oscars movies. I'm not joking.
Oh, Oscars movies are so damn boring. I watched Begonia yesterday, and I know we're gonna get into it more tomorrow. But that's like your typical Oscars. Like, what are we doing? What is this? It's artsy though. That's what it is.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, everyone. My channel advertised me as, soon to go live on live stream, like for the past 12 hours. That wasn't me. That was StreamYard. For some reason, when I went into StreamYard to edit and put this stream together, it just assumed I was about to go live and advertised it on my YouTube channel. I've obviously clicked or failed to unclick some setting, so I'll have to fix that. Anyway, sorry about that. I'm just going to start with a couple of starred comments here. So Doge Pal says, Lesbian Space Princess got snubbed at Worst of Woke Awards. Lesbian Space Princess? Is he talking about Starfleet Academy? I don't know. But in any case, Starfleet Academy wasn't for this year because it came in right as I was almost finished with the video.
We could talk about that for an hour.
Yeah, we're not getting into that right now. And then Phil Kilgore 6154. Hello, Phil. Became a new member. So welcome. All right. Well, we better get started, otherwise we'll be here all day. So we're not going to start with this. That's the end of the year. All right. So we're starting here.
Speaking of Star Trek
31. By the way, we will be jumping into the comments like every 5 to 10 movies or so. So anyway, section 31. Did you see this one, Greg?
I did. You and Echo talked me into it, and it's 2 hours of my life I can't get back. Is this the same? This is the same guy that did Starfleet Academy, though, right? Brian or something. What's his name? I just had to look him up. Kurtz, I think.
Alex Kurtzman was the executive producer. It's basically, you can talk all day about the writers and directors, but all of this comes from Alex Kurtzman. Like, he's executive producing all of this. So he's hiring the talent. He is the main creative direction. And fuck me. Like, he's such an appalling producer, not just because of his creative instincts, but he hires the wrong... Like, the people he hires can't even frame the fucking shots correct. Like, the blocking in this movie, the cinematography, it's all terrible.
Well, and he gets whoever he has for cinematography thinks that if you just it's almost like someone who's done a lot of YouTube for like big YouTubers, because like I know it's in Starfleet, and I remember this one too, where they'll just have a lot of orange and then a lot of blue, and they're like, ooh, isn't that cool looking? But it doesn't, nothing in the set actually would make those colors. They just brought them in because they thought, ooh, contrast, isn't this neat? Isn't this, it's terrible looking, and it doesn't match the scene, and it's just
They love their yellow filter. Yellow filter's massively overused.
Yeah.
And like in Hollywood today, it's one of the worst cinematographic tropes is yellow filter. And especially outside, because if you're outside, naturalistic color is actually quite nice. Just if you need to just brighten it a little bit and use some saturation because it's hard to light, that's fair enough. But why just let it be its own color? That's really nice to look at. Why are you giving me this horrible piss filter?
And it's just Kurtzman. I'm trying to write a video right now about millennial writing and just defining. I know that's been talked about a lot, but I just figured I'd do a video on it, and because Starfleet Academy made me think this is the most millennial shit I've ever seen. And then I saw, the same guy that did Section 31. This guy just apparently that's how he thinks of things. He thinks in movies, everything's a trope. I mean, everything in this movie was a ridiculous trope. just cookie cutter characters that they pretty much, they should have done the, oh God, what was that show where they, the Star Wars ripoff from Abrams, where they just went around a table and introduced themselves. And that's basically what this movie could have done. They could have just said, here's the archetype that I am. So how about you? Well, I'm the sassy spy person. Well, I'm the hacker person. Like, and that's how Kurtzman obviously just lives his life in these 2D characters.
And the other thing is, that's such an appalling way to introduce characters, because you're not going to remember any of them.
No.
You need to introduce your characters ideally through action, so that they're memorable and you can remember them easily enough. And they might have a fun, easy to remember nickname. Like, I'm watching A Night of the Seven Kingdoms at the minute. You've got Sir Duncan the Tall, easy to remember because he's tall, and Egg, easy to remember because the kid has a head shaped like an egg, right? And they're introduced, of course, through action, right? They're not sitting around a table saying, I am Sir Duncan of Longsworth, which no one's going to fucking remember. And then five other people mention their names. Like, it's just, I mean, it's one trope of many, but in my review of Section 31, I pointed out that, because I watched this movie twice, and it was apparent on the second viewing, the movie is essentially, it's like 5 different genres. It starts out as space opera, and then it goes into a heist movie, and then it becomes like a chase movie, and then it's very briefly, it's actually a murder mystery. I kind of find them a little murder mystery, like Agatha Christie.
Yeah.
It's fucking awful. It's just like genre hopping. It can't make up its mind about what its mind about what it wants to be. Just an atrocious movie. Worst sci-fi movie of 2025. And this was the movie that, obviously, Trek fans know the franchise is dead, but this one really drove it home for anyone that was paying attention at just how wretched this franchise has become.
Well, and that's what Starfleet Academy echoes, is that apparently they don't know how to be optimistic anymore. Like, that's the thing that gets me. I'm not a huge Trekkie. I'm not like a big expert in the whole show and all the various, DS9 and TNG and all that. But one thing that used to stand out was that it was a very optimistic show. It was, this is the future of mankind, and we're so cool and we're solving problems. And then this and Starfleet are the most, they're just nihilistic. They're not optimistic in any way. It bears nothing that would resemble Star Trek in any way. It's just generic sci-fi, and they're wearing the name like a skin suit. It's sad. And Leonard Nimoy would never write shit that's so depressing and generic like this.
Yeah, it's grim. So General John Pope, 1862. I think he's actually a member of my Patreon, General Pope. Still hasn't got over the loss at Bull Run, but you'll get over it. If it's any consolation, General Pope, you did win the war. Even if you lost the battle, that particular battle. Salutes. Was looking forward to WoA. Thanks for watching. And Nathan Malik became a new member, so thank you, Nathan. All right, let's move on to the next movie here. Okay, we got The Brutalist. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to watch this because it was too busy the past couple of months, and this movie's 48 hours long. But I know Greg loves this movie, so Greg, take it away.
I actually made a video about this one, which did poorly because nobody cares about it. But I was shocked. I was very pleasantly surprised because I watched this one last year as part of the whole Oscars Best Picture thing, and I thought, okay, it's 3.5 hours long. It's Adrian Brody. Where he's escaping the Holocaust. It's going to be so slow and just full of itself and self-indulgent. And I was totally blown away with how much I was into it. And I was, it was one of those things that, like, I just kept kind of thinking about this movie. Some movies like Fantastic Four, the next day you're like, did I even watch that? Was it a dream? I don't know. This one, I just kept thinking about. Guy Pearce was fucking stunning in this movie. Look, Adrian Brody's a great actor. Nobody's going to dispute that. I think Guy Pearce blew him out of the water in this one. He was amazing. Best actor by far. And everybody was doing a great job. The score was great. This was this looked really good because it was shot in VistaVision. So this is actual film. I can't remember the director's name. He was playing around with different lenses and stuff. So you get these big grandiose shots. The coloring is beautiful. And in the end, the movie, unfortunately, Adrian Brody is not really the protagonist. He is one of two extremes, where Guy Pearce's character is also an extreme. And I think that is, Brady Corbett, somebody in chat got me. That is one one downfall was that you want to feel bad for this character, and I don't think that you're supposed to. I think that he and Guy Pearce are sort of co-antagonists to themselves. And I know that sounds artsy and stupid, but I think that is the way to watch it. And I watched it 4 times. I thought it was fantastic. I'm
definitely going to watch this. I'm going to watch this before our next Oscar stream because but we need to take a short sort of technical problems break here. Greg, can you see the poster, the Brutalist poster?
A little bit. It basically cuts off right at his chin.
Oh no, but that's because of the comment, right?
Yeah. But okay. I can see the poster, and I can now see the comments. I couldn't see him before.
Chat, can you see the poster in the comments? Just anybody in the chat, just let me know if you can see the poster of the Brutalist in the comment over it, because I'm just making sure that from a technical perspective everything's going properly here. Yes. All right, great. Lego Rowan says, by the way, Despot, I would kill to see you riff on bad American ads. As a British student, everyone I know has seen your brilliant video when the government does not stop crying about it. Thanks very much, man.
That ad one was crazy.
Funny enough, actually, a former student of mine who studied in the UK, she's seen a fellow, and she saw him watching one of my videos, and he's a big fan. And she said, "Oh yeah, that guy's my teacher. He was my teacher back in South Korea." And her boyfriend, he's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you know the Despot." And he challenged her to send me a DM, but she showed him like pictures of us, at the graduation and everything. So that was a funny wee story.
That's wild.
But, isn't it? I would really love to go and talk to some, like actually meet people who like the channel. And
have you ever been recognized in public?
No, but I mean, I live in South Korea, so
I would think that you would stand out more in South Korea.
I would, but I mean, I don't go out that much. I work at home. And my sort of third space, if you like, is my boxing gym. So, I don't. And then when I'm out, I'm just out with the family. Just doing just family stuff. How do I get rid of this comment? I don't know. Oh, hide current comment. There we go. All right.
There we go.
Okay, I'll definitely have to watch. All right. So, did you see Better Man, Greg?
I have not. I didn't even hear. Right. I didn't know what this was. Go for it.
This is a music biopic of Robbie Williams, and it's gotten a lot of hate, as in it's really beginning to build a cult following. A lot of people are saying, man, this is the best music biopic of the decade. So in this movie, and this is where a lot of the budget went, Robbie Williams is a monkey. So they got the actor and they put him in a mocap suit, and he's just a monkey the entire time. And it looks really good. Like, it looks excellent. And you do get used to it early enough, like in the movie, like maybe for a couple of minutes you think, oh, that's weird, but you get used to it pretty quick, and it's very expressive. The actor did a great job, and it helps it to stand out from all the other biopic slop. By the way, I have gotten so many fucking comments in my biopic video that it's pronounced biopic. Okay.
No, I'm with you. It's biopic all the way.
I will explain this briefly.
I won't change myself.
Biographical picture biopic. When the fuck did bio become bio? Like when it's biographical, it's not biographical. You don't say autobiography. So when you put the two words together, why would you say biopic? There's no hyphen. If you want to be biopic, there has to be a hyphen. There's no hyphen. It's one word. Therefore, biopic. Greg, help me out here.
I could not agree more. And every time I've talked about biopics in any video, the comments are full of people that are like, what? It's a biopic. I'm like, well, how do you get that? Where does that come from?
There's no hyphen. It's not a bio lab. Do you know what I mean? Like, and bio, generally speaking, is in reference to biological. And I know biological is bio also, but it's hyphenated or it's separate, so it's a separate word, therefore it becomes bio. But how would you get bio from biographical? But Americans in particular seem to be very dedicated to this idea that it's biopic. But anyway, Better Man is a good movie. It's a little bit tropey in parts, and I think it is quite a good ending in that I'm not spoiling it because it's an autobiographical picture, but biographical, although Robbie Williams himself was heavily involved in this. And at the end, he sort of performs a song with his father who abandoned him as a kid. And that's the whole point. Like, he's a better man than his father was, which, isn't hard. His father abandoned him as a kid to go pursue a career as a rock star and failed at that, and sort of ended up singing in pubs and stuff like that. So he was let down by his father. But also, he's a better man than he used to be. Like, he started out his career as, a junkie degenerate, whoring around a lot, cheating on his various girlfriends. And he improved himself, like he bettered himself. So that's the idea. And that really comes through in the ending. One of the things that is really good about this movie is that it really doesn't hold back. It's not trying any whitewashing, and it shows what an utter degenerate, and I do mean moral degenerate as well as sort of with regard to his daily habits, what a degenerate Robbie Williams was. So, and there's what really makes this movie stand out is the musical sequences. They're fucking brilliant. So She's the One is a popular Robbie Williams song, and the musical sequence that plays while he meets his first love, his girlfriend, who he ends up getting pregnant, and then she aborts the baby so that she can pursue her music career. It's all portrayed very tragically and really well. That's an amazing sequence. And also the rock DJ sequence is one of the greatest sequences I've seen this decade. It's just incredible. I've watched it on YouTube like 25 times. The rock DJ sequence in this, it puts the vast majority of musicals, biopics, take your pick, just puts them to shame. It's incredible. It's a fucking brilliant scene. And that's what this movie has. Most biopics, even good biopics, like the Timothy Chalamet, Bob Dylan one, what was it called?
I can't think of I gotta look it up.
I'm dying. I can't go on until I've got this now.
Complete Unknown.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that. Complete Unknown. Good movie, but one thing it lacks those really brilliant moments that you go back for. It does have them. There are a couple, like when Bob Dylan breaks up with one of his girlfriends, and there's like a fence between them. It's a very poignant moment. That's very good. But it generally, and there's another brilliant scene actually where Bob Dylan sort of says goodbye to Woody Guthrie. That's an amazing scene. And so it does have a couple, but they're very brief moments more so than scenes or sequences. And that's where rewatchability comes from, I think, in general. Like, if you talk about movies that are really rewatchable, like at Christmas, I rewatched Die Hard and Home Alone. And fuck me, there's so much rewatchability there just because there's so many of the scenes and sequences are just amazing. They're just brilliant to watch from start to finish. And it has those highlights. It's like an album that you re-listen to because it has those banging songs. That's what makes movies rewatchable, just those brilliant scenes. Yeah. By the way, R.I.P. Catherine O'Hara, one of the greatest.
Yeah, I saw that the other day. It was sad.
So yeah, this movie, recommend, but it is a little bit tropey at times. I think the childhood sequence goes on too long. And maybe in the second half, it gets a little bit sort of color by numbers biopic. But other than that, it's a fantastic movie and it has some amazing scenes. All right, let's move on. Oh, Jesus Christ. So this is pure Netflix slop. This is like Netflix action, the movie. It's pure fucking slop. I couldn't even finish it. I got to a scene where Cameron Diaz, she's driving a motorbike and then she jumps backward off the motorbike, sending it flying into a guy. And I've seen it many times. Like, you've seen that action beat a bunch of times. It's decades old. And I can't stand this anymore when I'm watching action movies. If I'm watching a high budget action movie, I need to see something I haven't seen before. Show me, like, look at fucking Jackie Chan's movies that he was making in the fucking 80s, right? And they're amazing. They're so low budget, but he's doing shit that you've never seen before. And he's doing it in ways that you've never seen. And he'll take old tropes, action beats, and he'll subvert them to make them new and fresh. And it's just brilliant to watch. And that's low budget fucking Hong Kong movies, right?
Yeah.
And Netflix, with all the money in the world, can't do a single action beat that hasn't been done a billion times before. It's like, fuck me, man. This is so shit.
In like the exact same way as it's been done before. I saw somebody in the comments talking about Night and Day. Like, yeah, this is Night and Day, the reboot, but oh god. Even the tagline, they're living their best lives. Like, God.
That's fucking ChatGPT. That's a ChatGPT line. And that's what this movie feels like. And by the way, a lot of these movies, they're not written by ChatGPT, but let me tell you what happens. So you're the screenwriter. It's 11 p.m. You're tired. You want to go to fucking bed, but you've got a script meeting in the morning and you're 14 pages short on your script. So you take a sneaky wee, you sneakily enter into ChatGPT and get a little bit of help. And then you rewrite it the next morning and bring it in. I think a lot of that is going on.
Yeah.
A lot of it. And I think it gets into the movies. The studios themselves probably would disapprove of it because they know that originality is at least helpful in helping the movie to stand out. They don't want ChatGPT necessarily. They would rather the writers did the fucking job that they're being paid for, but the writers are lazy. And I know this from experience of being a teacher. A lot of the time the students are using plagiarism software, not necessarily because they're ill-intentioned. In some cases that is true, but most of the time it's just laziness. They spend their weekend partying and then they're like, oh fuck, I've got an assignment tomorrow. Fuck it, ChatGPT. And it's a case of laziness rather than forethought. Like it's not necessarily a premeditated crime. And I think that's what's going on a lot of the time when you see these ChatGPT movies like Back into Action. It's not necessarily a premeditated crime. It's more like just a sort of crime of opportunity.
Well, that or they use it for like brainstorming, which I have done and I've gotten away from because I was doing that for a bit with GPT, and then I realized like this isn't quality brainstorming, because I'm like, okay, it'll give me some ideas and I can kind of jump off from there, whatever. And then I realized, but the ideas that it's giving me are the most basic, like this. And I think that's another way that people, they're like, well, it's not writing for me. I'm just I'm helping to brainstorm. I'm outlining with an AI or an LLM or something, and but all it's going to feed you is, by definition, an amalgam of all the most basic ideas, and just mash them together and feed them to you, maybe repackaged slightly, but they're always going to be reused, high volume reused ideas. And then you're going to get this.
Yeah. I have a zero approach to AI. So I use zero AI. I don't use ChatGPT. I don't use Grammar Checker or anything. I would rather have, let's say I have a word that appears too many times in my script. So I have a 10,000 word script, and the word, I don't know, absolutely appears far too many times. I would rather just have it. I'd rather have the human mistake than the AI perfection, because it sounds more human overall. You'll get that sense. It'll come through. I want there to be a few mistakes, right? Everybody makes mistakes. Even the greatest writers are going to make mistakes, and that's fine. I like that. It's in there. It gives it a bit of personality. I'd much rather than that than some flawless, fucking sterile piece of ChatGPT garbage. Anyway, fuck Back in Action. Let's move on. Oh man. So like I said, we were going to gloss over some of the slime. I talked about this. I had this as my third worst movie of the year, I think. Greg, any thoughts on Captain Slop?
Yeah, I'd put it in the top 3 worst. It would take a minute to sift through all the garbage that we watched this year. But yeah, no, this one to me is bad because it is very obvious how many versions were slammed together, blended together to make this Frankenfilm. You can some of the ADR in this is so obvious, like just like insultingly obvious, where it's some scenes I don't even think it's the back of Anthony Mackie's head, and he's obviously just in a booth. The mixing is not the same, where clearly he's saying a different line. It sounds different. It looks different. They must have reshot, and because we know there was the wrestler guy that had a whole part, and then they entirely cut that. We know for a fact that Esposito was a late addition, and he was a fairly sizable part of this movie too. So they wrote and filmed all of these extra scenes with Esposito in there when he apparently wasn't part of the original rewrite. It just, the CGI was awful. Some of the one that really got me was when Mackie and Harrison Ford are on a submarine together, or a ship together, and you can tell that the meeting room that they are in is CGI, and it's bad CGI. It's very obvious.
Oh man,
and it's like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Why wouldn't you guys just go film it in a fucking meeting room? I get the cherry blossoms you guys can't recreate that, whatever, you can't film in DC and all, but you guys did blue screen and a CGI for a conference room? You couldn't just refilm in a conference room? That's how fucking lazy you guys were.
Yeah, and they used a lot of dark lighting to try to hide the shitty like CGI interiors, and it looks atrocious. This looks worse than the Marvels. This is the ugliest, worst looking Marvel movie.
Yeah, 100%. And it's the most disjointed. It's the most where a character is behaving one way, and then all of a sudden they just are totally different. I mean, I would believe that this movie was a run up to Secret Wars because of how people suddenly just behave like they are a fucking Skrill or Scree or whatever the hell after it. Like, boom, body snatcher, they're behaving differently. That would have made more sense to say, haha, they're actually taking over. They're not themselves, they're clones, than to just get what we got was just straight up.
I mean, even that poster has like 3 plot lines. So the Esposito, that's a totally different movie to the Harrison Ford movie. Then you've got Cape Shit Boy and Midget Girl Boss. And again, that's like she uncovers some conspiracy. Fuck me. What an appalling pile of shit. Could well be the worst Marvel movie.
Scroll. That's what it was.
I'm dying to hear your take on this because me and Greg were messaging back and forth, and Greg in little brackets wrote, "Fuck me, this was awful." For Mickey 17. And I've ranted about this fucking thing in my worst movies of the year video. So Greg, just let me know what you thought.
The disappointment is really what got me, because this was on 2 years ago. I did I think it was 2024. It was like, hey, things I'm excited about 2024. And I had seen the preview for this. And I thought, I read a little blurb about it. I thought, wow, this sounds like a cool concept. This guy keeps getting cloned. He keeps dying in horrible ways. He's in space. We're going to have like an existential crisis. That sounds neat. And then it kept getting delayed. And then I heard about it, and I kind of heard it was goofy. And yeah, I watched it the other day, and it doesn't know what it wants to be. This one feels the same as Captain America. It feels like it's 5 different movies that were smashed together. Characters that, I mean, his girlfriend behaves one way for 2/3 of the movie, and then all of a sudden she's secretly into drugs and getting DP'd by him and his clone. Like, where did that character motivation come from?
Weird.
You know, the fucking Mark Ruffalo is, I don't know. He's just supposed to represent all the things that liberal Hollywood doesn't like. And it was hilarious he kept doing like the company, the corporation, I mean the church, I mean the corporation, and this white planet that they were just like, name all the things you hate about conservatives. Their corporatism and church and racism. And he's just going to say buzzwords to let you know that he's evil. But why? Who the fuck is this guy? What is he doing anything for? Nobody knows. This movie makes no fucking sense. And I thought it was going to go somewhere interesting in a sci-fi way. And it was just fucking nonsense. Hang on. It was actually just nonsense. It was nonsense in a very strange way, with Pattinson doing a really weird fucking accent the entire time.
And right now, I'm talking to Greg about what we thought about this movie, and Greg said he didn't like it. And right now, I'm responding to what Greg said. Like, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of the fucking just telling you what's happening as it's on screen. It's an
Netflix second screen dialogue.
Movie. What the fuck? And the other thing is, the movie spends so much time sucking up to Hollywood and throwing all these tropes that Bong Joon-ho thinks they want to see. And it's such a shame. Like, if he wanted to do, I actually said in my worst movies video that if he wanted to make a statement about colonialism, he really should have focused on, if you want to do something sci-fi, like maybe do an allegory for the Japanese colonization of Korea or something interesting that we haven't really seen in Western cinema, not just another white man bad movie, which, you know, we've had 1 billion times. And apart from anything else, the best colonization is awesome, actually. Like most European colonization, especially British, like Australia, New Zealand, Canada. Like, what about those the existence of those countries don't you like? America, would you rather they just been left, that the people there would still be throwing spears at one another if the British had never arrived? Like, the Maori were cannibals. They wiped out the Moriori. Why don't you think it's a good thing that the British colonized New Zealand? That's a good thing. All of this stuff. I'm not saying it's perfect. Of course, there were things that the British Empire did that was wrong. Of course, there were crimes that were committed when they were colonizing. They're human. Everybody does bad things, but compared to other colonial efforts, like what the fucking Japanese did in China and Korea, like, that is unspeakably evil what they did in those countries.
Yeah.
Like shit that you wouldn't believe. when you actually read the history of it. Like that's really that, and that would have been cool. I'm not saying show the event itself, but show like an allegory for it to suggest, okay, this is what real evil colonialism looks like. Not your fucking high school textbook that tells you the worst thing that ever happened was, I don't know, a white guy giving an Indian a blanket in Minnesota or something. No, I mean like full on, just the most horrific evil genocide you can imagine, like the Japanese in China, for example.
Yeah.
Anyway, but this movie was dreadful. The
have him do a movie about Unit 743 or 731.
Yeah,
whatever
exactly.
The hell that unit is.
Where
atrocious shit like that. Yeah.
The Japanese soldiers, they're putting like anthrax in chocolate, and then they go out and they give the chocolate to kids to see the effect that it's going to have on them. And all this is documented, by the way. It's in the fucking Unit 731 paperwork, which the Americans made a deal with the actual guy that was running the unit. They said, look, give us all of your research and we'll let you go. So the Americans got all the research, and that guy went back to Japan. So it's all there in the documents. Like these aren't myths. These aren't folk myths from China. It's documented stuff, documented by the Japanese.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, but the point I'm getting at it is, if you want to make a good movie about colonialism and the evils that one people commit upon another in a sci-fi context, there's far better historical stuff to draw on than the billionth, white man bad in America nonsense.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm getting at here.
Yeah, and I fully agree. It's just this was rich man bad, racist man bad, colonialism bad, humans destroy environments, environmentalism good, humanity bad. It was just, you're absolutely, it was the most high school freshman, I'm cool and edgy type of, it felt like an essay from a high school freshman who thinks that they've just learned a lot of things and they're super cool, and they've never read anything that's ever been written on these topics ever. And they think, wow, I've got this really neat idea. I'm gonna write about how colonialism is wrong. And it was immature. It was just, God, the execution was just absolute dog shit. And it felt like 4 different movies that were all smashed together because nothing made any real sense whatsoever.
And apart from anything else, it thinks of itself as quite an original movie, but in fact, Moon, it's astoundingly similar in many respects to Moon from 2009. That was directed by David Bowie's son, Duncan Jones. He's a really good director. I think he directed Warcraft, another good movie. And Moon is brilliant. And Moon is basically this movie, but done correctly. Yeah. So if you want to watch a movie that does an interesting examination of the abuse of human workers and corporate corruption and so on, watch Moon. Moon is excellent. The Electric State.
Yeah,
I can't remember, man. This movie evaporated from my brain 10 minutes after I watched it.
This was one of those where the trailer pretty much told you everything, and not even because the trailer gave too much away, but just the trailer set up the very obvious plot that was going to happen. Her brother is trapped in a robot, and the robots aren't really bad people. They've got the spirit of humans in them, and then they need to I'm trying to remember how the movie ended. Did everybody survive? Did they both survive in the end, or did somebody die heroically? Shit, I don't remember. But yeah, it was this was another one that was something that I want to clarify, because I know people get on us, commentators, like, not everything needs to be perfectly original. There's not a bajillion original ideas in the world. It's just that the execution of some of these is so sloppy and lazy, and you can do the same thing that someone's done, but God damn, it put some effort into it. And this one, another one that feels like an LLM wrote this, where somebody just said, write a movie about humans versus robots, but the robots aren't evil. Go. And it's an action movie. And Chris Pratt's in it. So, have some banter. And then here you go. That's the Electric State.
Yeah, it's Chris Pratt playing himself, Millie Bobby Brown. It's very phoned in. Everything's phoned in. Yeah. And people complain about the cinematography. Most of it, it's pretty simple. It's soft lighting. So even when they're in the interior scenes, there's no hard lighting, there's no shadow or contrast. It's all just very brightly lit, like a TV show almost. And I've seen videos that mention the reasons that they do this, but basically that's it. It's and also the cinematographers. A lot of the time, the cinematographer who is working on the movie, they might have an idea in their head for how they want it to look, but then their vision gets destroyed in post because they're not actually involved in editing the movie. so they aren't able to carry their artistic vision all the way through the entire process. And in the end, the movie doesn't really have a visual identity. So that's one of the reasons I love the Dune movies. Dune 1 and 2 in particular, because it does have a visual identity, unlike stuff like the Electric State. I'm happy to just gloss over this. Anything you want to say, Greg?
I mean, what else could you say? It's been shit on constantly. We got all of our free views. We're good.
We're fine. We'll do some chat while we're not talking about Snow White.
Yes. Please read the chats right now. People have super chats. You should read them.
Did either of you see The Myth of Man? I haven't seen it, Greg.
I have not. That's I'm struggling to get a bunch of movies in. I'm happy to be watching some again, actually.
Don't want to go off on a tangent, but are you aware of Japanese war crimes? The rape of Nanjing, or the rape of Nanking, I think it's more commonly known in the West. Unit 731, Comfort Women. Yeah, actually, interestingly about the rape of Nanking, it was so appalling that even the Nazis objected to it, like on the world stage. They were like, yeah, okay, we think Japan has gone too far here and they need to stop the fucking Nazis.
We're gassing people to death in mass, but these guys, we don't fuck with that.
Make sure you give Resident Evil Revelations 1 a shot, in case you haven't, Lord Despot. I've only ever played Resident Evil 4. Man, I got the remake recently because I've been playing a lot of shorter games recently because I don't have much time to get into like big 4X games. And I got tired of AAA slop with Tears of the Kingdom. I liked Tears of the Kingdom for like the first 20, 30 hours. But yeah, I couldn't, man, with it. It was just, I don't have time for games like that anymore. And then I tried to play Dying Light 2, and I saw the skill tree, and there's like 50 fucking skills, and I just thought, I can't with this shit anymore. I just don't have time. I can't do this. So I've been playing these older games, like very simple run and gun games, or like SNES games, just stuff you can complete in like 5 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
Like I recently played Terminator 2D No Fate. It's a fucking class game, by the way. Xenocrisis is another really good one. You can get those both on Steam. So I've been playing these little games, but I recently got Resident Evil 4, the remaster, because I went back and I tried to play the original, and it's fucking unplayable, man. It's not just the tank
old ones are
controls.
clunky.
A lot of the old games that have these huge reputations, you go back to try to play them, and you're like, Jesus, these are unplayable today. Resident Evil 4, the tank controls are bad enough. He can't, in order to move back, if enemies are coming at you, you have to stop slowly, and I mean very slowly, turn around and then run forward. It's really, really clunky. And he's so slow, you basically can't retreat in that game. And the aiming in that game is trash. So, and the remaster is great. It fixes all of these issues. But then I fucked up in the remaster. I put it on hardcore difficulty. I don't know why. I should just put it on normal. And I ended up getting soft locked because I didn't have enough resources, and I kind of ruined it for myself. It got to the point where I thought, I'm not having fun with this because I have all these weapons that I can't use because I don't have enough resources because it's on fucking hardcore. Why did I do this to myself? Anyway. Greg, have you played any of the Resident Evil games?
No, not in a long, long time. And I haven't played the remake ones, but I get you on the remake stuff. Like I did play I went back and found a copy of like the first Dark Souls, and I played the remake, and the remake had 8-way rolling, whereas the first one, it was just 4. People are like, oh, Dark Souls so hard. And people now look back and they don't know why. It's because they're not playing the original, where you could only roll left, right, front, and back. And once they had omnidirectional rolling, then you're good to go. You don't get hit as much. But yeah, the old ones with the clunky controls, some of the difficulty came from that. And you go back and play them, and you're like, damn, the nostalgia is there, but
it's amazing.
This looks like shit.
I even played the first Tomb Raider, like the original PS1 version, like last month. I tried it out,
are bad.
And I thought, it's unplayable.
Yeah,
it is unplayable. The controls, like Lara is very slow. She's very clunky. She's not that responsive. Like you'll push a couple of buttons to get her to do a jump, and she'll do a different jump, or she won't do the jump, or the lag is really bad sometimes, and she'll run into walls a lot. And when she runs into a wall, it takes a few seconds to get her back in a straight line to her next target. It's really clunky. The graphics are atrocious, and it's basically unplayable today. I'm not saying it wasn't a great game for its time, but it's unplayable today.
I do remember, I have memories of that. Like, I remember trying to kill a tiger one time in that game, and yeah, you can't aim real good. I got killed a lot in that game because you just can't move. You can't move around.
It's very difficult to move. And even Crash Bandicoot, the original, I tried to play recently because I'd heard so many good things about it over the years, and I thought, fuck it, I'll try this. And the depth perception is a huge issue. So you can't really, you can judge how far something is, but not where it is in relation to, the left or the right of Crash. Because of the perspective, because it's a 2D, it's like, or 2.5D side scroller, and the depth perception was it became such a nagging, annoying problem. That was a pretty good game though, actually, Crash, I admit. Anyway, let's grab this. Love both your work, from Mick Gimming 6186.
Thanks, sir.
All right, well, that is more than enough about Snow White. Let's move on to the next movie.
we just fucking Stuckmanized Snow White right there.
Yeah.
Just can't talk about it.
Snow White is a movie by Disney, and it stars Snow White and 7 dwarfs. Were you a victim of this movie, Greg?
No.
Oh man, this movie is absolute fucking trash.
Just the picture makes me. I'm surprised this isn't a Best Picture contender right here.
So Jonathan, this movie actually was supposed to release in like 2024, or 2023, I can't even remember. But Jonathan Majors had some legal trouble because he was accused of hitting his girlfriend or something. I can't remember. But anyway, so Disney dropped it because they didn't want because of the bad publicity that was surrounding Jonathan Majors at the time. But in fairness to Disney, they did just give the movie back to the original producers. I don't even know if they asked for a refund. They just said, look, whatever, we can't release this, take it back. So they didn't shelve it, which was, nice of them, I guess. And then the producers found a different distributor, and they got it released 2 years late. So by the time it released, it got a little bit of heat at Sundance when it first came out, but by the time it released, it was dead. The buzz was gone, and it's an awful movie. So basically, Jonathan Majors plays what's the word? Autistic. He plays an autistic bodybuilder. And Jonathan Majors is a very good actor. He's done some crap. We all know that he wasn't great as Kang. Like, that was a bit of a miscast. But he was brilliant in Creed 3, and he's brilliant in this. He is. But his talent is wasted on this utterly awful movie. It's too one note. The whole point is he is completely obsessed with bodybuilding to an absurd degree. It's all he thinks about. He can't think about anything else. Like, there's one very awkward scene, and it's one of those movie scenes that's supposed to be awkward, where he manages to get a girl on a date. She sort of takes a chance on him, and he becomes very, very aggressive in his enthusiasm for bodybuilding. So he's at the table in this restaurant, and he's saying things like, bodybuilding, it's not just a thing that I do. It's my entire life. You've got to be dedicated, and he's really getting into it, and he's scaring the shit out of this girl. So she makes her excuses and just ghosts, right? She's so terrified she can't even say, oh, I have to go. She says, I'm going to the toilet. And then 20 minutes later, the staff member says, oh, that girl took off on you. But it's too one note, and it's too pessimistic. There's just no hope in this movie. And at one point, he is invited to a bodybuilding event by a professional bodybuilder that he admires. And this professional bodybuilder takes advantage of his autism and, fucks him, invites him back to his trailer, and they fuck. And he's very upset about this whole... it's one of those movies that is just steeped in pessimism and misery. And I just watch it and I think, why did you make me? Why would you make this? There's no hope. It's just a hopeless, boring, one-note, pessimistic, horrible, horrible movie.
Because it's deep. So deep when it's dark and pessimistic.
It's just god-awful. And having a severely autistic character as your lead, it's just a bad idea. Because, not to be cruel or anything, but people with autism, their autism defines their psychology and their personality to such a severe extent that it's very difficult to make them compelling protagonists. They can be good secondary or tertiary characters. They really can't be good primary characters.
Well, and from the description of that one scene too, it just sounds like they got it wrong too. And that's something I find a lot with autistic characters is the being obsessed, being hyper focused on the bodybuilding thing. And like, if an autistic person, if I met a person that was autistic and they were into the science and if I do this many, and they have a chart, and like, that sounds like a very autistic thing to do, to approach bodybuilding in that kind of way. But the getting super aggressive, that's not typical. Autistic people will, sometimes they'll get agitated if things don't go in the right order, but they don't typically get agitated when telling you about their hyper-focused thing. They just can't stop talking about fucking literal train schedules is a pretty common one. They don't get like mad about it. They're just like, they just want to tell you everything about trains. And it's just, Hollywood always fucks up autistic characters. They lean too hard into it. I fully agree with you that it's hard to make them a main character. It would add, I think, to a movie to have a well portrayed autistic character. You're right; they don't have the charisma to pull the movie, but that's a great way to drive a plot because autistic folks they'll get on something and like that's their thing, and that's all they want to talk about or think about or whatever. So it's sensical. It's just, you're right; it's not a main character. It would get old for the viewer, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Minecraft this movie got a lot of shit. I'm just going to say this. It's a fun kids slop movie, and I don't have that much interest in criticizing it because the kids that did go see it, they seem to enjoy it well enough. The movie does have its own kind of look. It has its own unique charisma. It's sort of slop, the movie. It's when people talk about slop movies, Minecraft has come to define that in a sense.
Yeah.
But I don't really fucking care, man. Greg.
So I'll tell you, I've got kids. I've got boys. My 3 boys one just turned 14. And then at the time this came out, the other 2 were 10 and 9. So like prime age, 13, 10 and 9. And they had fun. But then a week later, they didn't. Yeah. They've never thought about it again. So it fails. It fails on the front of not serving the audience that it should be for. They don't care about it. They're not watching it endlessly, which they do play and watch a lot of Minecraft shit constantly. So this should have been a big deal, and they watched it once and they never thought about it again. And actually, they complained about some of the rules being broken because they're boys, and so I think all boys. People think we're autistic. We're just how our brains work. But they were like, well, you can't combine a chain and buckets. That's not how the crafting system, we got in the car and they're like, the crafting system that's not how it works. You can't do that. And there's no speed boots in Minecraft. That's in Minecraft Legends. It's not.
That really matters, man. That lore shit really matters. That's what destroyed geek culture. Like geek culture was beautiful in the 90s, right? And then it went mainstream. Corporate fucking Hollywood got their hands on it and they started to break all the rules. They didn't give a shit about lore. And now all these franchises are dead.
Yeah.
You really have to respect the lore and you have to respect the rules or else you lose your fucking audience. And and once you do that, it's not geek anymore. It's corporate.
And people think that we're hard on movies and like, oh, you guys are so, you've never met a 10-year-old boy watching a video game movie. Or like my son is watching Percy Jackson season 2 right now. He's livid. He's fucking furious at this. Like, you don't fuck with that. Those kids are, they take no prisoners.
We'll throw in a couple of, let me see. Drakenstrom play Stellaris. You can be a 300. I can't do 4X anymore, man. 4X, it sucks me in. And $200 later, I'm thinking, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I just can't. I can't with 4X, man. I actively avoid playing Total War games because I get addicted to them. I'm almost like some sort of recovering heroin addict. I just can't even look at it.
RTX or RTS Anonymous.
Yeah. 4X Anonymous. All right. Realistic Delinquent, Mickey 17 is a worse episode 9 of Secret Level. That's very specific criticism. Are you aware of people in Japan who deny these? Yes, actually, I've been to the Sakashuni, the Sakashuni. Hold on, let me look this up. Because Sakashuni Shrine in Japan. I'm not even saying it right. I went to this Asakusa Shrine. Anyway, so I went to this shrine in Japan, and it's like the War Denial Museum. And I went to, and this was like 2013, and I went to this museum where they like a World War II museum, and it's very pro-Japanese. And it will. I remember seeing the exhibits, and it said things like, under Japanese occupation, Asian countries started their dream of independence from European colonialism, and their sort of narrative is that Japan was liberating Europe from European colonialism, or it was liberating Asia from European colonialism. But Korea was never possessed by a European power. That was all Japan, bro. Like, you did that shit on your own, and you did the crimes you committed there were horrendous. And then in the Philippines, like, they destroyed Manila. They just completely razed it to the ground. I could go on and on about what the Japanese did, but hey, I love Japan, man, and I love the Japanese. Great country, great people. You know, we've all made mistakes. You know, we get over it.
Just don't pretend it didn't happen. That's like,
yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Like,
that's all I'm saying. You know. Yeah, I've been to that museum, and I've seen the sort of denialism. It's stomach turning. Okay, let's see. Do you think War of the Worlds with Ice Cube will sweep the Razzies? It might. It doesn't deserve to, because, as you say, it's entertaining. Also, it's just some shitty fucking Amazon movie that was made for $10 million or something.
It's so bad it's good. Like, it really is.
Yeah, I like it. I like that movie.
One.
Yeah, I like that movie a lot. It's a lot of fun. It's not anywhere near as offensive as some of the other stuff. So who really cares? All right, let's move on. Warfare.
If it's in the Razzies, what you need to do is go, oh, no, oh, get out of there, no.
Warfare it got a lot of hype. I was specifically, Muller and Trinker recommended this to me and saying, this is an amazing movie. And I was a little bit disappointed. It is good. It's a good movie, and it does everything it tries to do very well, but it's just not great or anything. It's about a group of American soldiers who are investigating a house in Iraq, and then they get surrounded by insurgents, and it turns into a big battle, life and death battle, and they have to call in the cavalry to get them out of there. And that's really about it.
This is the one that was like minute for minute, right? That was kind of the thing.
Minute for minute. It's all real time, so it's real time movie where there's no time jumps or anything, and it's pretty good. It is a pretty good movie. It's a very decent watch, but the problem I had with it is that, I mean, I know it's an action movie and there's not that much dialogue here, but I'm not really getting to know these characters very well, other than their personalities coming through naturally, which they do very well. But there's just not that much going on. It's just a very straightforward one and done action movie, war movie. Pretty good. I don't see why it would be referred to as masterful or anything. It's just, it's pretty well done in all respects. There's nothing wrong with it, especially, but I don't see what areas it really stands out in. Greg, did you see this?
No, I wanted to, because I was drawn to the idea of like the real time minute per minute type thing, but no, never got around to it. I think that's why it was hyped up, because it's different. I mean, that's kind of a unique take on a war movie.
It's so Sloppy Doodle says it's supposed to be a B movie. Yeah, that's what it felt like to me. It kind of felt like it's kind of like a really decent B movie, but I mean, I wouldn't necessarily even recommend it. You could easily give this one a miss, and it's fine. Definitely wouldn't even make my top 10 of the year, but pretty solid movie. Watch it if you want. If you're not interested, don't. Whatever. Sinners. Oh, here we go. This is going to be controversial. So one thing I don't like, which has happened recently on X. Okay, this thing does not deserve 9 million Oscar nominations. That's ridiculous. But at the same time, people have tried to make it the Oscar villain, and it's not the Oscar villain. Okay, one battle after another is the Oscar villain.
Yes.
This is a really fucking good movie, man.
Yep.
I've talked a little bit about this, Greg. Why don't you start us off with Sinners?
Well, I think, to the Oscars point first, like yeah, it doesn't need like 9 million, but I do think it's the perfect prescription for the Oscars right now, because it's accessible to everybody. A lot of people have seen this, so it's not this obscure, goofy art house crap film. It is a fun movie, and I would even call this a movie, not like a film. It's not cinema. And also it helps them with the whole Oscars so white crap. They can vote for this and laud it and feel good about it because it is a good movie. People have seen it, and it's not just a pity token. Oh, look, we're giving awards to a black guy. Like, it's a good movie. It's great. Ryan Coogler makes fun movies, so it's gonna sweep. It's gonna do great because it is a good movie and it helps the Oscars look like not the Oscar. All the things people hate about the Oscars, it's going to help with that. But the movie itself, I thought it was a blast. I want to watch some videos of people like exploring some of the things that I don't feel like I saw. I think people are saying this is deeper than I think it is, and maybe I'm just missing stuff. I want to do some research on it. I keep intending to, but I had a blast with it. I think Ryan Coogler makes movies that look incredible. As far as cinematography, he does a fantastic job, and he's got an ear for soundtrack that is amazing. Like all of his, that was one of my favorite parts about the first Black Panther movie. The soundtrack is fantastic. It's so much fun just because of the music and the sound. And I didn't feel like it was a big fuck you white people. I thought it was fun. I was talking to my wife about it. She was like, I don't know. You think a vampire movie is like an Oscars best picture? And I think that's what the Oscars needs. It was because
what's the
fun
fucking
movie.
Competition? Like, there's not much competition last year.
No.
It was atrocious year. So absolutely, it should be up for best movie. But if you want to look into sort of the themes of it and get some, nerdy analysis, check out the Closer Looks video on this. So the channel's called The Closer Look, and he had a great video about the themes of Sinners. And I can understand why I can understand the backlash, and I can understand why a lot of people are pointing to it and saying, fuck this movie. It's the Oscars is only giving it to them because they're black. By the way, that's true. If it wasn't a black director and a movie with, black cast, black story, then it wouldn't get all these Oscar nominations. Obviously, that's true. But at the same time, people are accusing the movie of being, anti-white. It's a movie about the vampiric nature of white society. And it's very clearly not, because the whites in the movie are the Klan. They're doing the opposite of trying to integrate blacks into their society. They're not trying to vampirize them. They're trying to keep them away. They're trying to divorce themselves from blacks and to keep the separation permanent. There's no attempt on the part of whites in the movie to vampirize or to integrate blacks. They just want them to stay away, to keep the segregation there. So that the idea that this is about black people being sort of having their culture vampirically taken away from them as they enter white society, and that's what the allegory with the vampire thing. I disagree. I think it's more about the loss of individual identity within a collective, because you see that not only in obviously the people who become victims of the vampires. I mean, even Ramek himself, who is the head vampire, there's a reason he's Irish, because he's lost his identity. The British have taken his ancient Irish identity away from him. And this was done in a very real sense. Like the British failed to a very large degree in Ireland. I mean, I know I was kind of shilling the British Empire earlier, but I mean, even I remember listening to Great Courses history, and the guy giving the history was very pro-British Empire. He said that British colonialism was basically the best colonialism, but he said they failed in Ireland to a great and significant degree. And one of the things they did was they banned the use of the Irish language. And eventually, I mean, there's still a lot of Irish speakers today, sort of in the hundreds of thousands, but as a everyday spoken language that you will hear everywhere, it was lost. Largely as a result of the famine, but also the British banning the use of the language and banning Irish culture and trying to sort of destroy it. Like even Irish traditional music, the music that exists today, it thrived as a result of a big revival that came in the wake of Irish independence. The British were doing their best to sort of expunge Irish culture and oppress it, and make it conform to the broader idea of British identity. And so the idea that you've had this identity crushed out of you by a broader collective very much comes through in the character of Ramek. And then he's trying to do the same thing, of course, to his victims. But you get more than that. The Black Church is trying to sort of destroy the musician's identity as a musician. and he has to choose at the end. And it's very, very clear. Like, his father's screaming at him, put down the guitar, son, put down the guitar and come to Christ, and that, again, that's a very accurate representation of how that kind of music was thought of by churches of the time. And he's forced to make this choice between individual destiny and collective belonging. And I think that really comes through in the movie. So I disagree with the sort of, I'll call it the anti-woke interpretation of the movie, because I think that this movie is kind of a victim of hypersensitivity that has been caused by woke garbage. You know what I'm getting at?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like with Furiosa, I think last year. I haven't watched that one yet, but that one pretty much crashed and burned because, I mean, I saw it and I thought, oh, well, here we go. This is what this is going to be. And it wasn't, but I think the audience has kind of been beat up so much that when they see something like this, or they hear like, oh, it's a Ryan Coogler movie and Michael B. Jordan shoots a bunch of Klansmen, and they're just thinking, oh God, it's just going to be that shit, and it wasn't, but I will not blame the audience for reacting.
100%. I blame Hollywood.
To how Hollywood has been treating them for a decade.
Yeah, this is all on Hollywood, how people have pushed back against this movie. And like I say, remember, don't be too hard on Sinners, because the true villain here is one battle after another. It's not Sinners. It's one, but that is the villain this year, and it can't be allowed to get away with it.
Oh, that's so fucking bad.
I did a video on this. Man, trying to convince the Marvel Children that this is a shit movie is like beating a wooden plank against a brick wall. Nothing you say can convince these people that this movie is bad.
You can't convince me. I liked it. I liked this one.
You liked this?
I did.
I can't even, man.
I did.
Well, no. Go ahead. I'll go. Just go. Go. Yeah. I want to give you a fair hearing.
Here's the thing. It's. I had a good time with it. I give this one a very solid, like 6 or 7. Right. It's not a great movie. I won't go that far to say, oh, it's amazing, but I do not think it was garbage. I think it had a lot of fun elements in it. It is. The biggest problems for me are the disappointments with the movie that I see underneath that it should be and could be, but they didn't know what to do. They didn't have the setup. Personally, I thought the immediate killing of Taskmaster, felt like an olive branch to the audience to just say, look, we didn't know what we did with Black Widow. We didn't say this. We have no clue. We're just going to kill this character immediately, because we're not even going to insult you by trying to front load an explanation and pretend like we had a plan. I really enjoyed the father-daughter relationship between Yelena and Red Guardian. I really enjoyed those parts of it. I liked what they were attempting to do with the other side of herodom, or the people that aren't quite heroes or get cast as villains when they really don't feel like they're villains. It was a subversion of the original Avengers that I think had more meat to it than just Game of Thrones. Oh, look, I'm not Tolkien. I'm the opposite. This didn't feel like, haha, we're just not the original Avengers. Aren't we clever? There are critiques, and I'm not going to argue that they're invalid, but I really did enjoy this movie. I have seen it since, and I enjoyed it on the second watch as well. And I think that there was some really good characterization. Not Ghost, not Taskmaster, and I still think John Walker did nothing wrong and has been unfairly treated entirely. But overall, I thought it was a fun movie. Thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, I will say I think it's the best Marvel movie released last year. I think Fantastic Four was tripe. Captain America was Captain Cape shit. That was that. Even Ironheart, if you want to look at their series, was Ironheart. So it was the best thing they did last year. I will say that, but I still think it was very poor. I'm not going to get into it because we have a million movies to get to. But if you're watching this and you haven't seen my review of it, you can check out my review of Thunderbolts. For my counter to Greg's points. I mean, Greg does raise some decent points. It has to be said. Like I said, it's nowhere near as bad as Captain Cape shit. There's some things going on that are decent, but yeah, overall I thought it was trash. Check out my review for details. Oh man, I love this movie, Final Destination: Bloodlines. Did you see this?
No, I don't get a chance to see a bunch of horror because my wife doesn't handle it. And honestly, even the scary shit, I don't handle well. But this is more of like a, I mean, I've seen a lot of Final Destination movies, but I haven't been able to see this one yet.
Yeah. So I'm not going to lie. this movie is basically, it's essentially a rehash, or even you could call it just a remake of previous Final Destination movies. They're all the same movie, basically. So a character has a vision of a catastrophe in which many people die at the start of the movie. Turns out that it was just a vision or a dream or a premonition or something. And then they stop this catastrophe from happening. And because they have cheated death of death's victims, death then pursues them throughout the movie and kills off all their friends and family one by one and eventually gets to them. Exact same formula every time, but it works. It's fun. It's really good horror slop. Really fun, just good time, follows the formula, does it right, and a lot of fun kills, fun deaths, some really fun characters that die in interesting and hilarious ways. I will say the one thing I didn't like about the movie was the lead. The lead girl in this was as a totally dull actress. Like, she has no charisma. She has no screen presence. She's not a good actress. She's very run of the mill. She's not even good looking. And I know that sounds cruel, but when you're the lead actress for a movie that's, 1 hour, 45 minutes long, if you can't act well, at least be, hot to compensate. And she's none of those things. So that was all very bland. But that's my only criticism. Other than that, it was a really fun time. So if you just want a really nice horror slop movie to chill out with, Final Destination's Bloodlines, absolutely. Good movie. Oh, Jesus, hurry up tomorrow. So I did this I had this as in my bottom 10, I think. And it's just an advertisement for The Weeknd's latest album. It's just a wanking session, really.
I didn't even hear of some of these movies you sent over.
Well, when I was doing my worst movies of the year, I watched a bunch of really obscure shit to really figure out, what were the worst movies, because you also want to mix it up in the video. Like, you don't just want to throw out a bunch of shit that has been reviewed to death all over YouTube. You want to throw those curveballs like Hurry Up Tomorrow just to make the video more interesting.
Sure.
It's fucking atrocious. I'm quite happy to skip over this one because I reviewed it, but I didn't hate it or anything because he paid for the movie himself. It's not shitting on any IPs. He took all the losses. It's really just him and his buddies in the film industry wanking themselves off. And Anna Ortega looks kind of hot in it, which is all right. It's not that long. It's like an hour and a half or something. Big pile of self-indulgent wank up its own arse. But it knows all of this and it doesn't really care. So it's not an offensive movie. It's just is what it is. But I don't even think fans of The Weeknd will like this. They would just get bored 10 minutes in and stop watching. It's fucking atrocious. All right, so we're on slide 30 of 50. So let's head over to the chat for a little bit.
Hey, we're making good time.
Yeah. All right, so Sinners is very overrated. Not a bad movie, entertaining, but not an award winner by any sensible measure. So many plot elements left unexplained. Well, I saw it once in the cinema. I am looking forward to watching it again for me and Greg's Oscar stream. So I'll watch it again, and then I'll have my sort of final thoughts on it on the next stream. But anyway, good night. Reminder that Zoomers voted for FNAF 2 over Sinners in two different. What's FNAF 2?
Five Nights at Freddy's. That's used to be a video game where it's like a Chuck E. Cheese where the robots come to life and you're a security guard. Kids are into it, which is weird because it's a fucking horror game. It's very strange that it's like marketed to kids and they love it.
Great, cool. What the hell? Just arrived to see my two favorite YouTube commenters talking and was forced by my dark soul to contribute. Loved your Woke Awards, Despot. Thank you very much, good dog. Glad you enjoyed it. The only pushback I've gotten on the Worst of Woke Awards is people saying that I used the cum kiss too many times and the greenhouse rape scene too many times. But it's kind of shock humor and gross out humor. And it's in the video. Like, I mean, the jokes about the cum kiss are there. Like, I've got characters being disgusted by the kiss. It's like meta gross out humor. That's kind of the point.
I mean, you've only new people are mad that you're using the greenhouse scene because you use that a lot. That's not new.
I admit that's it's kind of forced. But I admit that everyone who's been forced to watch that wasn't necessarily a willing participant and that it was somewhat non-consensual. I admit all of those things. All right, let's see here. Have you ever seen any films by Satoshi Kon? He made some very good animated films, such as Perfect Blue or Millennium Actress. I haven't watched a lot of anime. Greg?
No, I just started watching some anime, and I'm enjoying it so far, but I haven't gotten too deep into it. Apparently, I did a video recently about it, and I used English dubs, and apparently, I am going to go to hell for that. Is what I've been told in the comments. So, oh well, it sucks. What are you gonna do?
Voltaire the Spiky. What's an example of a classically bad film that is still more competent at filmmaking and screenwriting than modern slop this year? Independence Day. Now, Independence Day has its problems, like the aliens are arriving in this gigantic spaceship, and all they have, instead of really clear pictures of it that they could get in the 90s with, telescope technology, or even just pointing a fucking camera at the sky, they have these like weird blueprints where you can barely see anything. Like, that's ridiculous. Why do they wait a million years to form a military response or to evacuate the cities? That's fucking absurd. The second a giant alien spaceship appeared in the sky, the cities are going to empty. Like, do you think if a fucking spaceship appeared and headed for Seoul that we're going to hang around? We're getting the fuck out of here. We're going to the countryside to sleep in a field. Jesus, fuck that. So it's a dumb movie, but it's a really fucking fun dumb movie. It's so much fun. It's got a great ending. It's got that bromance between Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum. It's just an awesome movie, man. It's a great time. So that's a classically bad film. Greg, have you got any examples?
Well, I'm just kind of going. I'm trying to fish one up. In the same vein, I would go with like Twister. That's another one that there's a lot of goofy shit. There's plot holes in it. There are things that don't make sense. The sudden realization that out of a goddamn Pepsi can, that you're going to track a tornado and stuff. The over dramatization of tornado hunting in general, but it's the same thing. It's got a lot of heart. I could watch that one a bunch of times. I could watch Twisters a bunch of times. It was the same. That's like that was a really good. I guess it wasn't a remake or a sequel or whatever, but it was in the same spirit because it captured that same idea of we're dramatizing this a little bit. We're having a lot of fun. We're not going to get too hung up on a few little plot issues. We're just going to shrug about it, and you're going to have a great time. And Glenn Powell is going to be fun. So there it was. It was great.
Yeah. Hi, Despot. I absolutely love your videos and consider you to be a role model in my life. I think your video, The 5 Most Important Lessons I Learned from the UK, is amazing. Seriously inspired me to be better. Yeah, I think you're talking about the 5 lessons I learned from when I was in my 20s. Yeah, that was an important video for me. Like, it was just a reflection of my 20s and what I'd learned from them. And yeah, I appreciate that, man. And I'm glad that I'm helping you to be better. But one thing I liked about that video was I wasn't doing the whole fucking Andrew Tate thing of and I know he's not a thing anymore, but the whole let me tell you how to be fucking better in your life, you piece of shit, how to be fucking alpha. It was more like I'm not doing that. This is just me personally reflecting on my own 20s and the lessons that I learned, and specifically the 5 most important that I learned from them. But yeah, glad to hear that, man. And I'm gonna do another video like that in a few years, talking about what I learned from my 30s, like the top lessons I learned from my 30s. But number one will obviously be, no matter what else you do in life, the most important thing you can do is to become a parent. That would be the top advice I would give to anyone. Ultimately, everything in your life, everything you do should ultimately be geared toward building a strong family. It's the most important thing you can do. And that should be your ultimate goal. Like in your dating life, like, why am I doing this? Ultimately, you're dating, not to, yes, you're having fun. Yes, it's a good time, but ultimately you want to find someone you can marry and have kids with. That is it. Right. So that's the main goal. So yeah, that's the main thing you can do in life. Like, why are you working? You're working to support your family, to build your family. Right. And that's it. That's the most important thing you can do, no matter what else you do.
That is sagely advice.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the Lilo and Stitch live action Abomination, Greg?
Oh Jesus! Just recently, I did. I avoided it when it came out because, and I avoided it partly to be fair to the movie and I haven't seen How to Train Your Dragon either, because I am aware that I will hate it no matter what, because if it is completely shot for shot faithful to the original, my response is going to be, well, then what the fuck was the point? And then if it changes anything at all, my response is going to be, how dare you change what was already a great movie? So I didn't see it until you said we're going to do this stream, because I just thought I can't be fair to either of these movies. They make no sense to me. But then I finally did, and it was even worse than I could have imagined. The biggest sin with the live actions is that they take all the heart, all the levity, all the whimsy out of these movies are bland as fuck. The decision to make the aliens just people, Zach Galifianakis and the other guy, these were horrible decisions. Child actors never do as good a job as the adults who voice act for them. The ending is absolutely atrocious, completely ruins the entire theme of the movie. That's probably the greatest sin that the movie commits, but it was so goddamned boring. And it as usual, it is 20 to 30 minutes longer than the original and adds nothing with that time.
Christ. I haven't seen it. Here's the thing, man. When I came out of Snow White, I kind of promised myself no more. I'm not watching any more of these live action movies. I've had enough. Now, you might say, oh, yeah, but, what about for your channel? It's really good fodder for your channel. I don't care, man. Because Disney have burned through all of the stuff that anyone could be interested in, right? They've done The Little Mermaid, they've done Snow White, and I think that even the YouTube audience is just over their fucking remake slop. They're done with that shit. And there's a million other things I can make videos about. I'm not watching any more of these fucking plagiarisms. I'm done with them.
Yeah, this was dreadful. It was boring. They added a whole new neighbor character, basically just to you remember in the original, the guy that was interested in Nani, his name was David. It did the thing where they invented a new character, and it was a new woman character, of course, to give the advice and help out and whatever. But they still had to have this guy. And so what you end up with, they didn't really shit on him, but what you end up with is a character who's taking up screen time with nothing to do. And this happens constantly. This was my biggest gripes with the Wheel of Time show is, well, we still have to have Rand and Perrin and Matt, but now they have nothing to do because we gave all of their important plot beats to the women. So now they're just hanging around. And as a viewer, you're like, well, then what the fuck is this David guy doing here? He's completely useless. He does nothing for this movie at all, but he has to be there. And so now it's boring. It's stupid.
Yeah, fuck this movie. And fuck all of these remakes, man. They've run out of them, though. I mean, they've pretty much cannibalized their entire back catalog, haven't they?
I mean, when you're cannibalizing, I believe 2007 is when Lilo and Stitch animated came out. So yeah, when you're out, you're so out of library that you're having to remake shit that from not even 20 years ago. Yeah, you're out. You're scraping the butt. You've dug through the bottom of the barrel. You're in the dirt now. 2002, I'm being told. So just over 20 years.
This one was ass. So disappointing. Did you see this, Greg?
No. Now Mission Impossible is like Game of Thrones for me, where I haven't seen the last 4 movies, and now I'm just like, I'm behind, and I don't want to binge 4 movies in a row to catch up.
This one was so disappointing. It was really behind the times as well. So it was retconning a bunch of old movies and pretending that old villains and old MacGuffins are all relevant to the current plot, and that it was all leading up to this the whole time. James Bond also did this, and he was dated then when they fucking did the last Bond movie. Now, the reason they're doing this is because they're basically trying to copy the MCU. This was a big thing in the 2010s. Every fucking franchise wanted to be the MCU, so everything had to be interconnected and all leading up to this final showdown, this final point, this final confrontation. This movie was like something straight out of 2018 in that respect. It was fucking woeful. It's like, Jesus, it sounds like a bunch of guys who are just so hopelessly out of touch with the culture. They're trying to appeal to this sort of MCU hungry audience that doesn't exist anymore. So out of touch, so bad. Massive amounts of this are just bloat. Huge amounts of exposition, huge amounts of retconning that should not be there. They're already, and I knew this would happen, fan edits are starting to come up, and the guys are advertising their movie on YouTube. Obviously, they can't post the movie, but they're saying, I made a fan edit of Mission Impossible, and I got rid of all the exposition and all the stupid fucking retcons, and it's actually a pretty okay movie now. Maybe, I'll obviously never watch any of these fan edits, but it's a movie that a fan editor would look at and think, I can't wait to get my hands on that because I know I can improve it massively just by cutting
with editing.
away a third of this shite. It's
Ugh.
massively bloated. It's far too long. There's so much exposition, so much retconning. The villain is crap. Man, the AI, that trope of the nefarious AI that wants to wipe out humanity, for fuck's sake, would you do something fresh?
Yeah.
And it's gotten too big. It's like, whatever happened to, here is a mission. It's very difficult to achieve. Go do it. There's a traitor. You got to deal with the traitor, and the traitor fucks things up, making them even more difficult. And that's really about it, right? Whatever happened to that formula? This thing is just, it's too complicated. It's trying to do too many things. It has too many moving parts. This whole franchise needs to reboot and start from the simpler premise of Mission Impossible. Like, here's an impossible mission.
Yep.
Go do it. A little bit of government treachery on the background, and that's it. Yeah, basically just go back to being a simple heist movie with a traitor somewhere in the mix, and that's it. That's what they need to do. They need to get back to basics because this was a bloated fucking mess. Bring Her Back. So this is another horror movie, Greg. This is one that if you don't like horror, like
I'm not no way you can horror.
This was the best horror movie of 2025 that I saw. I don't watch that many horror movies, but a lot of people were talking about Weapons. Weapons is good, but it's a movie that has kind of gotten away with murder in that it has some serious problems that have been overlooked because of how good a premise it is and how interesting it is in other respects and how good it is in some respects, but it's overrated. Weapons. Bring Her Back. This is the best horror movie of last year. It's awesome. It is I can't even tell you what it's about, man, because if I explain everything in that I give the premise away, it would kind of spoil the movie for you. So, because it all unravels slowly over the course of the movie. And you at the start of the movie, it's really just these kids in foster care. That's what it's about. And you don't really know where it's going or what it's even about until a significant portion into the movie. And the pacing is excellent. It slowly unravels this mystery over time. So I'm not going to tell you anything about it. I will just say, if you like horror movies and you've got a strong stomach, watch Bring Her Back. I thought this was the best movie, the best horror movie of last year. And the main actress in it, I forget her name, but she was excellent. This is a terrific movie. So definitely check out Bring Her Back if you like horror. As I say, I won't say anything because I can't get into the movie at all without spoiling it. Oh, when? All right. So we're on Jesus Christ. So we're going from the best horror movie to the worst horror movie of 2025. Did you see The Conjuring last Rites, Greg? Okay.
So all horror movies are just I don't get them.
The main bad guy in this movie is a piece of furniture. It's a mirror with an evil looking wooden frame, and that's the bad guy. And it's inhabited by a demon or something. And there's in the finale of the movie, they're trying to get this evil wooden fucking mirror out of the house. Now, it didn't occur to anybody, hey, how about we just everybody leave the house and we'll hire a moving company to come here and just get this fucking thing out of here, right? That would be really easy. No, instead, the main guy here teams up with some of the family members and they start moving this mirror from the attic out of the house, but the mirror fights back by causing like a bunch of shit to fall on top of them, and like the water bottle falls over and hits the electrics and that causes a fire. Like, also, oh fuck, it's hilarious, man. Like, the final scene is literally them struggling to carry a piece of furniture down a hallway.
It sounds like a really bad rendition of Final Destination where people die in weird ways.
It's like a really low rent D grade version of Final Destination in the final act. Oh, it's fucking horrendous, man. It's so fucking bad. It's hilariously bad in parts. And it made like, I don't even know how much money, like 500 million on a $3 budget. This movie was fucking atrocious. A lot of it's just boring as fuck as well. It's just people sitting around talking. And Absolute garbage.
I like a lot of
Unbelievable.
exposition in my horror movies.
Unbelievable that this thing made money. Just total fucking trash. I mean, I can understand it making some money. You know, all these slap horror movies make money because they're so cheap.
Yeah.
And all they need is one good weekend to cross that profit line before word gets out how bad they are. But this thing made all the money. It was bizarre. This was the one movie last year that I decided to give myself a gift and not go see it. I couldn't, man. I think it was during the summer, and I was burned out on all these slapbusters.
Yeah.
And this came up at my local cinema, and I just thought, you know what, man? No, we're not doing this today. Greg?
It's on my queue, but it's just one that it isn't high enough that I make a point to watch it. The problem is I actually do want to see it because I think that it's going to be, I'm going to go into it with the expectation that it's a campy John Wick spinoff and it's, it's super stylistic. We just got a chick this time. And I think I'm going to like it for that reason. Like, I'm just going to have fun with it. It's going to be dumb, but I'm going to have fun with it. But nah, I haven't gotten around to it yet.
This guy says Ballerina was so good. So yeah, and we've got at least one Ballerina fan have seen it. Not good, like at all. All right, I suspect the first guy was being somewhat sarcastic. Greg on Despot, I don't know how to tag you. May I graciously ask that no one take Christ's name in vain? Pardon my complaint, but it is my personal line in the sand. Okay, sorry, Tina Prince. We'll keep that in mind. All right, let's move on. 28 years later. Yeah, this one. Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
Well, I've only seen half of it, unfortunately. I was watching it in spurts, and I haven't gotten to the part where everyone says it's a totally different movie. The first half of it, I have liked so far. It's been gritty, and it's been a little. I didn't at first know how I was going to feel about the weird jittery camera thing, but I got to liking it. The strange cutaway with the lady chanting about the boots and the army and stuff. And it was all very strange at first. And then I kind of got into it. I don't know. I was enjoying it. I just haven't had a chance. I was watching it kind of off and on, like I said, in spurts, and I was really having a good time. I just haven't had a chance to finish it yet.
Yeah, so this movie has become kind of like a favored punching bag among YouTube critics. It's a movie that it is fashionable to hate on. And as time has gone on, it has become more fashionable to hate on it, which puts me in a minority because I actually really like this movie. It does have plot problems, and I think some of the plotting is lazy. So the way it's written is that the writer wants certain things to happen, and he just kind of writes it in. It's a bit lazy. So it is lazy in respects. I don't think it's an excellent movie, but I do think it's a really good movie, and I think it's a massive improvement on 28 Weeks Later. And that's one thing that a lot of people forget, just how bad 28 Weeks Later was. It was this really fucking awful, hyper-American, cringy allegory for the Green Zone. You remember the Green Zone from Iraq?
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of an allegory for the Green Zone. It was awful. It was fucking dreadful. Tell you what was amazing, though. The first 15 minutes, like the opening sequence, because Danny Boyle directed it. So he came in to direct like the first 15 minutes or something. He was the executive producer, and he decided to just direct the start of it. And then he was too busy, so he went and did something else. If Danny Boyle had directed the whole movie of Weeks, it could have been a masterpiece. Obviously, you'd have to dump the whole fucking Green Zone thing. But instead, they handed it off to some slop director, and it ended up a piece of shit. But this was a massive improvement. Still has problems. I admit that. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10. I think I gave it like an 8 out of 10. But really good. And I'm going to see the sequel this week, which I'm looking forward to.
I'm dying to finish it, but it's so gory I can't watch it with anybody. My wife's not gonna watch it. I gotta watch it by myself and find time for it. It's I mean, some of it's like campy, like just when they shoot people with arrows and just a bucket of blood and mist just shoots out. Like it's kind of silly. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it seriously enough that it's a good time. I was on Drinker the week that it came out, and I hadn't had a chance to see it yet, but they were praising the second movie heavily.
Weeks?
No, years.
Oh,
the second Years movie.
my wife really liked this as well. She liked this movie, so we're gonna go see the sequel this week.
Yeah.
If you want my thoughts, like my detailed thoughts about this movie, you can check out my Danny Boyle video. So I reviewed his filmography, and this was the one right at the end of that video, and it's timestamped. So if you don't want to watch, 3.5 hours of stuff before that, you can just skip to that in the timestamps, and you'll get my more detailed thoughts on 28 years later. Elio. Have you seen that yet, Greg?
Oh God, I saw it. You know what? I'm going to take credit for this. I was one of the first people publicly talking about Kpop Demon Hunters, because that came out the same weekend, and we saw this, and it was trash. And then we went home, and it was so trash that we were kind of talking about watching that on Netflix. And we're like, hey, you guys remember that movie we were going to watch? That sounds like fun. Let's cleanse our palate with that. And it was a fucking blast. It was awesome. And we've watched it like every other family. I don't know, 189 times since. And I but no, this was
more popular with your boys or your girls?
Definitely the girls, but the boys like it too. I mean, it's hard to convince, and this goes back to what we were talking about. The audience is very jaded and they're beaten down, and it's very difficult to convince people that boys will like this movie. It's not girl power, whatever. It's none of those things. I mean, yeah, it's a trio of girls that star in it, but your sons will like it. They're going to have a great time. I mean, as a grown man, I thought it was a blast. There were emotional beats that hit. The music is fantastic. If you look into people that talk about how the music plays into the plot, not just the lyrics, but also the construction of the music itself and how it leads you to feel things as it's playing. It is Demon Hunters is one of the best films of the year from a construction technical standpoint, and it's a freaking Netflix movie. But this is hot garbage. And for anybody that doesn't know, famously, it was admitted that originally it was going to be an allegory for a boy coming out as gay. The movie centered around the boy being queer and gay and finding aliens that accepted his gayness. Like this has been admitted. This is not speculative. This isn't two old white guys speculating and the gays. This was the original point. And then Disney stepped in, fired the director, and then got rid of all the allusions to his queerness, which then left it this bland nothing movie, which says a lot, actually.
Yeah, I actually, I went into all of this in my worst movies of the year video, but I think that this is an allegory for pedophilia. I think this is pedophilia fantasy.
Yeah.
And that the original director is a pedophile. Now, I'm not, just for legal reasons, I'm not accusing the guy of anything. This is just what I think, given that the evidence that I've looked at. So I think that this alien creature that looks like a penis is a metaphor for a penis. I think the other aliens are metaphors for essentially a pedophile ring. And that the whole point of the movie, like in terms of the nonce fantasy, Elio is experiencing feelings of homosexuality, and he asks to be abducted by pedophiles. They abduct him, they rape him, and then he explains all this to his mother, and she approves. So I think that is essentially what the movie's about. I think it's a nonce fantasy, and I know that is really dark shit. But if you think that kind of darkness doesn't exist in the world, I suggest you have a look at what is in the Epstein files that were just released.
Yep.
So that's what I think of the movie.
Yeah, no, it was absolute trash. I mean, just from a and even if you approach it, you take that stuff out of it, and you ignore all of the obvious subtext that was there, just as a movie, just as a plot, as an entertainment piece, it sucked. It fails on every level. The dialogue is trash. A lot of people pointed out how all of the action takes place in the middle third. Yeah. It's very TikTokified. It's on every single, there's nothing redeeming about that movie at all. And it's sad. I mean, we've talked about this a lot with Star Wars, with Marvel, Pixar. The destruction of Pixar by Disney has got to be studied. That used to be a powerhouse. It was other studios feared when Pixar was going to put movies out. They are classics, and now they're making Elio. Now they're making Hoppers. Have you seen the preview for the new yet another humans bad environmentalism movie coming from Pixar recently?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like that Grubhub commercial. It's another one of those movies.
Yeah, it's crazy. The destruction of these properties like Pixar. It's wild. Hey, here's a good one.
Here is a good one. This has to be either my I need to rewatch some of these movies, man, and I'll watch all the Oscars movies, but this is definitely in my top 5, and it might even be the best movie of last year because it's the most perfect, if you know what I mean, in that it doesn't like even Sinners. Sinners is a very good movie, but it does have some mistakes. For example, I don't think Ryan Coogler could help himself. He just couldn't help having that black revenge fantasy element where in the final scene, out of fucking nowhere, like the clan all assemble in a nice, convenient open space for the main character to go and wipe out with a minigun or a Tommy gun. That's a bit dumb. And it's clearly done as Ryan Coogler's personal black revenge fantasy. It's a really cool scene. It's really fun to watch, but it is, I think it's weak stuff, to be perfectly honest. And it's sort of like a kind of pointless second, third mini act. So that was probably the weakest element of the movie for me. So it does have problems, Sinners. But with Kpop Demon Hunters, I don't recall there being anything wrong with it. It's just, it was, every aspect of it was brilliant visually. The music fucking crushes.
Yeah.
The characterization, the pacing, it's just brilliant in all respects. And it's excellent in many respects.
Yeah. I keep learning new, things. Like I saw somebody just link a quick short video where in the Golden Song, it's very, it's big, it's produced, right? That's the whole point, is this contrast between their private lives and the production. And then when Rumi is in her dressing room and she's got the dressing gown on and it's very subdued because she feels, exposed or whatever. And then as she's putting the stage costume on, the music is rising with her putting on essentially her armor against the world. And then we jump back into the big production and then she's able to hit the high notes again. Like that kind of shit is like, you see it, obviously you respond to it, but that's the kind of under the surface stuff that gets the reaction without slapping you in the face. It's technically so impressive what they achieved there.
Yeah, and this is a great example of a movie that comes from it comes from a place of understanding of about its own source material. So the people who made this are basing it on a combination of K-pop, ancient Korean folklore, and not just the basic visual elements like the cute little Korean demons, which I suppose might be analogous to pixies in Western mythology, because they're tricksters. They're not necessarily like that little Korean tiger. It's not an evil demon. It's more of a trickster, like a clumsy trickster type. And a lot of those Korean folklore elements, it's not just aesthetic, it's actually in the storytelling itself. And so it has this very strong foundation culturally.
Yeah.
You compare it to something like a Disney movie where there is no foundation. It's just a copy of an existing movie, or an amalgamation of a bunch of different, like, like Tron Ares, for example, is just an amalgamation of tropes.
Oh,
there's no foundation there. It doesn't mean anything. And I think to make a great movie, you really do have to, it needs to have a foundation. And where is this coming from? Like, what is the cultural foundation of this? Like Star Wars is based on it's built upon the foundations of the monomyth, the hero's journey and the many aspects, not just the hero's journey itself, but the various other types of storytelling techniques and tropes that author was talking about in his book. I forget his name. That's what Lucas was basing it on. So it has a very strong foundation. And this is an example of a movie with a very strong foundation. And that's what a lot of modern movies are missing. There's no real intent there. There's no deep symbolism within the storytelling. It has no connection to history or to the storytelling traditions of humanity. There's just nothing there. It's vacant. That's a Disney movie. That's why they're like that, because there's no foundation, no cultural foundation. This really has that. It's
this is
Go ahead.
Oh, it's just fantastic. I mean, it's unfortunately now Netflix is going to press for another one, and
I know exactly we all know it's going to happen. It happened with Squid Game. Squid Game had a terrific first season, and again, it had that foundation. That first season was based largely on the experiences of the writer-director, because he had really struggled and he had lived in poverty in South Korea, essentially. And living in poverty in South Korea is not like in America where you're out in the sticks and you live in a trailer. You still got plenty of space around you. It's claustrophobic. The debtors live a mile away. The creditors live a mile away from you. You're in very, very tiny accommodations. It's dirty. You're eating very cheap, nasty food. I mean, I wouldn't say I lived, well, actually, to be honest, I kind of did live like that. Maybe a little bit better than that. I was never in debt or anything, but I was living in a tiny fucking studio apartment in a really poor area of Seoul. Seeing a lot of the people that are portrayed in, say, Squid Game season 1. So I was very familiar with what a lot of these aspects that were coming through. And that was amazing because it was based on that experience. It was based on life experience. But Squid Game season 2 and 3 weren't based on anything. It was just a continuation of a story with diminishing returns.
Yeah.
And they were rushed out. And by the season 3, it was all gone. There was nothing left. It was just slop. It was Netflix slop. And now they're going to
torture porn, you know,
they're threatening an American version, which will just be god awful.
That's going to be capitalism bad, 100%.
It's going to be capitalism bad and white people racist. And, I'm here because I'm a black man that is a victim of racism. And I fell on hard times because I don't fucking know. I got fired from my job for being black, and it's all the white man's fault. Pure Netflix. It's going to be pure Netflix. If they make it, I'm assuming they will. Yeah, and it's going to happen to Kpop Demon Hunters. They're going to make more of them. There's not going to be any real foundation there. It's going to be diminishing returns, and it's going to end up a slop franchise.
Yeah. Dark Hour's here. We're actually be on Dark Hour on Tuesday. If y'all want to go over to his channel on Tuesday night, we'll be hanging out with him. But he's saying the second one's not going to be out till 2029. So maybe that will give it a little bit of room to breathe. They won't push it out quite so fast. But it, a big lesson that I love from Kpop Demon Hunters is that it was able to do. One of the sub themes was about the guilt that the main character felt because of her mother figure. And so there was that sort of familial passed on guilt sort of thing. And they were able to do that effectively and show how that affects a person and how they internalize that without going, my fucking parents, they just didn't love me and they're terrible and mom and dad are awful and they're just, they're such crap, Turning Red, my mom just doesn't get me. My Korean mother just doesn't get me. She's so terrible. Like, they were able to hit those points without crapping all over and just doing that. It's not a phase, mom. Fabulous.
Yeah. Caravaggio invites me to speak Korean. Despot speaks Korean. Mediocre Korean. But yeah, let me see. 2025년 영화 사이에 제 제일 좋아하는 영화는 아마 개대헌. Number 1. Yeah, good job. There you go, Caravaggio. I don't know if Caravaggio was Korean, but if there are Koreans in the chat, they can tell everyone how bad my Korean is and how many grammatical mistakes I just made. The difficult thing with learning Korean for me, it was actually, I loved it because it's, as a language, it's like the opposite of European languages. The sentence structure is like backward. The way they form meaning is done in a way that you wouldn't even be able to imagine as a Westerner. So a lot of in the West, you would use like adverbs to change the meaning of verbs. Mm-hmm. But in Korean, you have to use verb conjugations to change the meaning. And the ending of the verb you use will also change what level of formality you're using to speak. So you could, depending on your verb ending, you could be doing one of many different nuances and being very rude about it or very polite about it. And there's like hundreds of these little grammar rules, but it's a very fascinating language for me to study. I really enjoyed it. F1. Man, a lot of people have been talking this movie up as if it's some sort of, forgotten masterpiece, this truly great movie of 2025. I think it's a fun one and done. Greg?
Yeah. We started watching this the other day because it's I'm trying to watch as many Best Picture movies with my kids as I can, but some of them are just needlessly stupid and graphic just because, just like last year, like, what if we make this great historical epic, but Florence Pugh's tits need to be out constantly. But this one This is another one that I feel should not be a Best Picture nominee, but I think the Oscars, this is one of the Oscars trying to be like, hey, look, we're cool. We don't just do all A24 art house stuff. Like we do things that you normies like, right? Look, Brad Pitt. But I agree. This is a fun movie. It's, I think what Echo called it, like just tropes the movie. Like, and it is. It's pretty generic. Which I agree with, but it is a fun. I think the execution is there. I think the acting is good. The execution is well done. This is like a 7 or an 8. This is a movie you're gonna have a great time with. You're right. You probably won't ever watch it again, but you're gonna have a fun time with it. And it actually made racing interesting to me, which was kind of one of the pro column things. I didn't know that you could make an entire movie. And the way they shot it, it wasn't. The cuts were quick, but not like half a second each, to where I feel like I was going to get motion sickness. But it did keep the pace up because I've been to actual races and I find them boring. So no, it hit a lot of high notes. It's very, very good.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with all that. And yeah, what do you mean? What? Check it out if you haven't seen it already. Greg, take us through Jurassic Park. Have you seen this movie?
Yes. Oh,
I'll be back in a minute.
Disappointing.
Give your thoughts.
All right. This was like, since Jurassic Park, none of them have been incredible. All right. And I wasn't looking for pure cinema with this one. I knew I was getting giant dinosaurs and that, they're rebooting it with Scarlett Johansson. And I thought that was kind of a good idea because the Chris Pratt ones have just been played out. This is, oh God, this is just straight garbage. First of all, it's emotion. There's tons and tons of emotional manipulation and member berries. It's kind of a 2-part movie because Scarlett Johansson and crew need to get DNA from dinosaurs. And this poster is BS, by the way, because there is no T-Rex. There is a D-Rex, which is horrible. It's a terrible looking abomination. And this family is a guy and his 2 daughters and 1 daughter's boyfriend, and they're sailing across the ocean for old time's sake because the daughter's about to grow up and move out. And they're just there purely to manipulate you. Because the little girl is in danger. Oh no, a dinosaur might eat her. Don't you feel terrible? Oh, the father and the daughter are not getting along because she likes this deadbeat idiot boyfriend. But then in the end, the dad learns that he's not such a bad guy after all, and he reconnects with his dad. It's so manipulative with the family, and they do nothing for the plot. They're there to pad the runtime. Honestly, it's awful. And then the rest of the movie with the dinosaurs is just constant key jangling of remember Jurassic Park? Don't you remember when the kids were stuck in the kitchen and the Velociraptor's claws were clicking below? Look, we did the exact same thing, but it's in a convenience store now. Don't you remember when Ned was driving in the rain and he passed by a sign that said this way to the docks, but he got lost? Look, we're going to do the exact same fucking scene with a guy driving a truck to the docks, past a sign that says docks, but he runs into a mud pit. It was member berries and absolute emotional manipulation, and it felt like it was 5 hours long. And for a movie with giant dinosaurs, people are hunting giant dinosaurs for their blood samples. It should have been exciting, and it was boring as shit.
Yeah, it was. I was bored out of my tits during this movie. The plot, the premise is dumb. Like this idea that there's somehow more oxygen on a bunch of equatorial islands. There's oxygen alters with altitude, not where you are on the surface of the earth.
Yeah.
That's unbelievably dumb. If they can survive on the island, they can survive in New York. The oxygen content's the same. The idea that people are bored with dinosaurs. Have you ever been to have you ever seen a panda at a zoo?
Yeah.
The queue is 1 to 2 hours long. And there's thousands of those things, but thousands isn't that much when, they're spread out all around the world in different zoos. So yeah, people will queue up to get their fucking selfie with the panda. This idea that in the, the cancerous age of social media that we live in and influencing, that people wouldn't, queue up for days to get a picture with a T-Rex. It's dumb.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. The premise is ridiculous. It's a god-awful movie. Everyone is on autopilot. That's the other thing. And you know what? I don't even blame them. Like, I'm not saying Scarlett Johansson should be, at fault here, or Mahershala Ali, because they're not playing characters. They have nothing to do. They're just playing these templates, these trope templates. There's nothing there. Like, they can't act because there's no role for them to act. It's a movie, they exist in it, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, they had that one scene where Scarlett Johansson and Ali are talking, and he's like, "Oh, how is your tragic life?" And she's like, "Oh, it's pretty tragic, but I got to do this job. How about you? How's you and your wife after your son died tragically?" And he's like, "Oh, we got divorced because of that tragic death of my son." And you're just like, "What
That's
is
a great
this
example
shit?
of, I mean, show don't tell is bad advice. I just say don't tell when showing is better. But that's a great example of, okay, this is all telling and it's all pointless. Like there's no, this is a complete waste of time. This is a complete
Just try to drag it.
That scene should have just been cut. The director should have just thought, okay, do you know what? We're not even going to try to get the audience invested in these characters. So let's stop with the emotional manipulation, cut these fucking scenes out, and get on with it.
Yeah. Get
that
on
would
with
have
the
been
dinosaurs. Better. Just find the damn dinosaurs and shoot them. It's a dinosaur movie. Don't, and that sounds bad to say, like, don't make it too deep, but don't try to make it deep and just end up being lazy. And you're absolutely right about like the whole oxygen thing. And this is, for as much as we make fun of, nanotechnology and what the hell else? Just the, the unobtainium and then like goofy shit like that. We make fun of that, but in their defense, the alternative is crap like this, where they try to provide a scientific explanation, but it makes no sense. Or Ironheart in Black Panther 2 saying that she locked herself out of her computer, invented a quantum computer to unlock her own laptop, but is still poor somehow. Like when you try to over-explain stuff, you end up creating more problems for yourself than you do to just say, nanobots.
Greg, you didn't
because
understand.
Algorithm,
You didn't understand Black Panther. The reason Riri Williams was poor is because she's black.
Oh.
Did you not get that?
That's right. That's what I thought that maybe that's what they were hinting at, but I wasn't 100% sure, but that does clear it up. I think you're right. I think that's what they're going for there.
So we're at number 20, so we'll just look through some of the chats here. Thanks for your work, guys. This is from Black Boy Games. I really believe that collaboration between guys like you and the people who make movies would be beneficial. YouTube is such a powerful, something I can't see because of the slides, and Hollywood fails to see this powerful resource.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 100% right, but at the same time, if you're a studio, it's even the studios themselves, they have surprisingly limited power in what they can and can't make, because they can't really greenlight a big production unless the investors are happy about it. So if you're Warner and you want to make Joker 2, you then have to go to your board and say, we want $200 million to make Joker 2. And the board will only approve something like that if there's a track record of like IP and sequel success and things like that. In the case of that, they fucked up because they should have actually looked at the director's sequel record, which was atrocious. But I don't think they don't give a fuck about YouTube. To them, like, Hollywood genuinely thinks of YouTube, movie critics and so forth on YouTube. They really believe that we're all just a bunch of incels living in our mom's basement. It's this kind of straw man that they have in their head, but they believe it. I'll get these comments occasionally on my YouTube channel of people calling me incel. They really believe that I'm just this bizarre little racist that lives in a basement somewhere and, never has sex. To them, the idea that I'm a happily married man with kids is just, it's inconceivable to them, because it doesn't fit the straw man that they have in their head. And that's the case with most YouTube critics. They're just married guys with, wife, kids. They're just normal Joes that have these opinions about movies. But these Hollywood types have built this straw man in their head, and they genuinely believe that the YouTube critics are just this sort of hive of anti-woke maniacs. And they have to believe that, because the alternative is to accept that they are just, normal people with fairly normal opinions that are largely representative of what everyone believes. And they can't accept that. They can't accept that the past 10 years has been a mistake. So they'll continue to cope. They'll continue to ignore their audience. If they're going to ignore their own fucking audience, they're sure as hell going to ignore YouTubers. And one thing I realized when I was making the last Worst of Woke Awards is we talk about how woke is kind of over, but it's just not. Hollywood, they're just never going to let it go. They just won't.
No,
they keep making this shit. And even if it's not like super overt, the political messaging, the problem is that the DEI hiring spree has filled writers' rooms with people who just can't do anything else. That's all they know. That's all they can do.
Yeah, they only know how to do these representations, these copies of copies that they've seen before. That's why you get such these two-dimensional archetype characters because that's all they know how to write. They don't know how to write people. They know how to write characters because they grew up on characters. And you're right. They'll have to admit that they were wrong to stop doing it. So they can't. They're in a corner.
This movie was awful. The boyfriend should have bought the farm, saving the family. Yeah, that's an interesting American expression. Bought the farm. I even had to look up that one recently. It's a weird way of saying dying.
I don't know why. I'm American and I don't know why we say that.
It might have come from the Civil War. Something to do with like if you die, then your family gets compensated by the government and then they can buy the farm. Something like that.
Huh.
I'm not sure. But it's from like 19th century American history. It might have been something like that. I could be wrong though. I'll catch the VOD, but you guys rock. Thanks very much, Floyd Droid. Vulture the Spiky. Have you heard of The Last of Us will likely not get its planned 4th season and will end with a heavily truncated third season?
The Last of Us heard that, but it makes sense.
The Last of Us is an interesting case study because I don't think the franchise is dead, but its chances of coming back are minuscule, and I don't think they're going to pull it off. I think the 3rd season will come out and just no one will care. It'll be a bit like Fallout Season 2. No one will even fucking know when it comes out.
Yeah. I think it is dead. I don't think there's any hope for it because I talked about this early in the year, but before this show came out, there is, because of the way the game was made, there is no saving it. There is nothing you can do once you decided that the game or the second story should not be a continuation of the two characters that the audience knew, but a absolute humiliation ritual killing of the one character and then introducing a brand new character who hates the other main character that you know because off screen secretly, you killed her dad. There's no saving that. It doesn't matter what order that you put it in. It doesn't matter who you cast to play this new character, Abby. It was, that story is ruined and there is no fixing it short of a complete retcon, we fucked up. We're just rewriting it from scratch and going a different direction. There's no adaptation that will work.
I agree with Greg. Like, I mean, if I were the showrunner on season 3, my advice to Warner would be, look, guys, it's go big or go home at this stage. The only thing we can do to maybe revive this franchise, we have to completely abandon the current plot line, right? We're not even going to make season 3 of The Last of Us. We're going to take the IP. We're going to do a new show, and it's going to follow a new bunch of characters, and the main thing will be the actual fungus itself. We're going to examine this idea of the fungus as a living, thinking entity that has an end goal in mind, which is like the ecological transformation of Earth into this sort of fungal planet. That's where we're going to go. We're going to have sort of super fungus zombies and people trying to fight back against this, and the scientists doing research to try to build chemicals to wipe out the fungus, things like that. And we're going to follow a completely different group of characters. It's just going to be a completely different story. Bella Ramsey's gone. Everybody's gone. That is the only fucking thing you can do. The only way to salvage this franchise is to completely jump ship and try to swim to another ship.
Yeah. There's no saving it.
That is it. You cannot save it in the current plot line. Anything that involves Bella Ramsey, forget about it. It's done.
Did you play the game?
No, but I did watch. I watched season 2, like the movie, all clipped together on YouTube, and I was astounded at how bad it was.
So that it ends in the most depressingly stupid, nihilistic, artsy, pretentious fucking way possible. There's no way that's going to make it. You can't make good TV out of that. You can't.
No,
it's awful.
Just the characters as well. Abby, atrocious character. Just the dramatic structure of it, whereby Joel is killed way too early, and then the sort of plot reboots with Abby, and you completely lose any sense of dramatic arc. It's just awful. It's awful.
Well, and Craig, whatever, interviews after the second season, he said, third season is going to be Abby's, and we're going to see that like she's a hero in her own story. They're going to do that kind of thing. Like she sees herself as a hero. And that was the entire problem with the second story is Neil Cuckman is a goddamn idiot who's been huffing his own farts for years and years and has no one left. He's fired everyone that would ever tell him no. And this is all record. He cleaned the company out of anyone that would tell him that he was not a genius. And So yeah, he's going with the very edgy, very high school freshman cool idea that what if everybody thinks they're the hero and we don't know who's the good guy in the bag? Fuck all the way off with that morally gray bullshit. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's very tedious. Very tedious. And like you say, it's very high school. Dogepal, what is LNS?
I read this earlier. I saw it come through, and I don't. Some in Star Wars, LNS succeed and Star Wars fail.
Hold on, I'm gonna ask Google. What is LNS? I'm not getting anything, man. Sorry, I can't answer, man. I don't know what LNS is. Yeah. 2 seconds till I pull up the next.
Lilo and Stitch. People are saying in the.
Okay. I don't know. I didn't see. Oh, as in why did it make money? That's a good question. I mean, why should that have made money? But Snow White and the Seven CGI Abominations have bombed. I don't know, man. I didn't watch. I didn't watch it. I haven't seen the original Lilo and Stitch, so I'm definitely not the man to answer that. Greg, any thoughts?
Part of it, I think, was the bad PR from Renee Zellweger, whatever. Just all that with her talking the original. I think somebody mentioned when we were talking about this, I think I caught a comment. Somebody just said, like, everybody, like, nobody from Lilo and Stitch said anything. Nobody said a word. It was PR blackout, which was the smart move. Whereas Zellweger couldn't shut up. It was the same thing with the Acolyte, the director and Amanda Stendelberg or whatever, just couldn't shut up and couldn't stop shitting on old properties, couldn't stop shitting on the fans. It just,
how it works with modern media is if you do manage to get yourself into the news cycle, there's a very limited amount of time you've got in there before people just get sick of you.
Yeah.
And what happened with Snow White, by the time it came out, people were already thoroughly fucking fatigued hearing about it. And they wanted nothing more to do with it. They'd heard about it enough. They'd seen enough of Rachel Zegler. They'd seen enough of these fucking abomination monstrosities. They'd heard enough about the controversy. They were done with it by the time it came out. So that was Snow White is a perfect example of a movie that was massively overexposed prior to release. The marketing of that movie was historically disastrous. If Disney had just done nothing, literally nothing, and then started its advertising campaign a month before, they would have had a lot more success. All right, Kirby's 99. Also, you need to talk more on Open Bar. I was so excited to see you in the most recent one, and you barely talked. Come on, man. I didn't talk at all in the first clip he posted, but I did talk quite a bit about Night of the Seven Kingdoms and Highlander, and a little bit about Star Trek Discovery. It was hard to get a word in during the Star Trek Discovery section in particular, because the drinker had a Trekkie on, and this guy was a real Trekkie. I think he even referred to himself as autistic. And he talked a lot during that section. And there's already 5 people on the panel, but it can just, it's not my stream, it's the drinker stream. And I did talk quite a bit, but some streams, it's really hard to get a word in edgeways. I think Greg can probably testify to that as well.
Yeah, when you have a bunch of people, I think we found that out when we were regular with Echo and stuff. Really, 4 was about the max we found, and once you get to 5, it's too much, and everybody wants to say something, but it gets bloated.
It does. I mean, there's a bunch of times, even when we were talking about Star Trek Discovery, where I had really good points in my head that I wanted to say, but there's literally no space to say it. Like, you would have to cut somebody else off to do it, and that's just the way the streams go sometimes, man. You just have to sit there while other people talk. Like Greg said, I reckon 4 is about the maximum you should have on a stream. Like, even what me and Greg are doing right now too, I think that's great. I think the ideal number is actually 3. Something like Friday Night Tights, I don't get. I consider something like Friday Night Tights to be, it's an American thing, and I just cannot understand it, because it's incomprehensible to me why anyone would listen to Friday Night Tights. 20 or 15 people sitting on a stream talking, and they'll sit there for an hour without saying anything. I remember Echo got on there, and I wanted to see how he did, so I stuck it on, and he didn't say anything for the first 30 minutes. So I just thought, what the fuck is the point of this?
I don't know how you could. It just seems so. I don't know. I'm with you as a viewer. I don't know that I wouldn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. But so it just happens sometimes if you're on a big stream, especially if you're on a big stream with big personalities that want to talk a lot. You just have to sit there quietly, and that's it. That's the game. All right, well, let's get back to Superman. Ugh, this is a movie I just don't want to talk about. This thing was talked to death. Greg, why don't you start us off?
I mean, I agree with you. It James Gunn was the wrong guy for this, because he should have made a Justice Gang movie and it would have been incredible. Would have been so much fun if he had just made a Hawk Girl, Green Lantern, and Mr. Terrific movie. It would have been phenomenal. He would have knocked that shit out of the park. But Gunn is a sarcastic, sardonic. He's a millennial kind of guy. It's a lot of millennial writing. It's a lot of unserious, ironic stuff, and that's not Superman. It just isn't. And my main complaint with this movie is that Superman feels like a side character in his own movie, and he's not taken seriously at all. He's just kind of there. It was very boring. It was very bland. There was too much going on. It was over ambitious. Should have just been a Justice Gang movie, and that would have been fine. But I do feel like Corn Sweat did a good job as Superman. Like, I didn't mind him as Superman in the scenes that he was allowed to actually be Superman. But no, it was boring. And I made a video about it in Fantastic Four, and honestly, I had to rewatch it so I could remember what happened, because I forgot a lot of it. It was just bland, which is such a sad thing to say about Superman.
Yeah, this is the movie that made me realize the superhero genre is going to die now, because it was on the way out. It collapsed in 2023, and it wasn't dead in the sense that you would still get superhero movies, but Superman, when I saw it, made me realize, okay, this is a genre which it refuses to change. It refuses to change with the times, and now it's just going to sort of die to the point where they can't make these movies anymore. And it's a bit like hair metal. You know, it's 1993 and some fucking hair metal band just releases an album and it sounds like something from 1983, and you think they're never going to change. Like, they're never going to stop doing this big stadium sound, and it's totally out. Like, no one's really interested anymore. That's just the superhero genre for me right now, man. I'm so fucking done with it. I think everybody's done with it, and it's not going to change. It has no interest in moving beyond the tropes that emerged in the 2000s and 2010s. None of these movies feel like 20s movies. They all feel like stuff that emerged in the 2010s. Every one of them. They all have those tropes. They all have those patterns. And this genre is dead. It is. I think last year pretty much killed the superhero movie. Every single movie flopped that they released. All the series flopped. And there's absolutely no hype. Even for Avengers Doomsday, there's no hype for that. So
no.
It's a dead genre. And this is the one that made me realize it. And as for how good or how bad the movie is, I don't fucking care. So there you go. I thought it was a decent popcorn flick that I knew I was never going to watch again, and that was a mess. And I just don't care. Like, I'm not even into. If you look at my channel, I don't do that much stuff on superhero stuff or Marvel stuff. I never did. This genre is just. I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't think any. I mean, maybe there's still some fanatics that really care, but I just want these dumb cape shit movies to go away. I know what you did last summer.
Did you see this one?
Yes. I saw this. All right. So the guy on the left here,
hey, I'll be right back.
He's the bad guy, and he teams up. This is a low res image. It's hard to see, but he teams up with another guard and he kills them all. And he was in the original movie. He was one of the victims in the original movie. But in this movie, the mayor of I Know What You Did Last Somerville is changing the place to make it more tourist friendly. And as part of his rebrand, he's trying to sweep away all mention of these killings that happened in Somerville 25 years ago. And the guy on the left here, we'll just call him Spiky because his hair's kind of spiky. Spiky is very upset about this because he feels like, you know, our history is being taken away from us and they're denying what happened to us, and our victimhood isn't being acknowledged. So he goes on a killing spree with some girl, I can't remember who. And this is all revealed at the end when the ghost of Jennifer Love Hewitt shows up weighing 300 pounds and she discovers all this. Oh man, it's such. Jennifer Love Hewitt is kind of like a microcosm of what has happened to this franchise. Like, you know, you look at her in the 90s and she's just gorgeous. And you look at her now and she weighs 250 pounds. and it's just kind of sad. And look, I know I actually looked this up. She had 3 kids. Fair play to her, good for her. But Jesus Christ, come on, love. Come on. Hit the gym. Put those burgers down. And it was atrocious. And the amount of sort of millennial tropes in here, you've got the lesbian makeout scene, which has become a trope. You've got the horrible millennial dialogue, the dumb, dude bro characters that are supposed to be kind of analogous to the jock suffering from toxic masculinity, and of course he gets gutted. Oh, it's terrible. It's an absolute pile of shite. But it made money. I think it was made for 15 million and it made 68 million, something like that. I'm not even going to look it up, but it definitely made a lot of money. And I imagine they're going to make more of these. What an atrocious pile of shit. They'll keep doing this, man. They'll keep remaking these 80s and 90s things. And I have absolutely no hope for the Highlander remake, by the way, because we were already there. Was it Edgar Wright directed The Running Man? And he was saying things like, oh, it's going to be different this time. It's not going to be like all those other remakes. It's different this time. It's going to be good because I'm a prestige director. And it's the same fucking thing with Highlander. They're going to say it's different this time. Trust me, bro. It's a prestige director, bro. It's like a toxic ex, who keeps coming back to you saying, it's going to be different this time. All those other guys didn't even mean anything. It was just sex. Believe me, there was no feelings involved. And that STD I gave you, it wasn't I the one that took you to the doctor after I gave you that STD. It's going to be different this time. I promise. No, it's not. It's not going to be different. Okay? These fucking remakes need to stop.
But it's all anybody has. I mean, it's I know you're not huge in the game industry, but in games, it's kind of it's a similar thing. And look, I'm not mad about some of them. I mean, as soon as we're done, I'm going to play some more Final Fantasy Tactics. But
here's the thing: like the remakes,
you're updating stuff because you didn't have the technology.
Makes sense in the game.
But with films, you don't have that excuse.
Look at I'll give you a perfect example: the Turok trilogy, Turok 1, 2, and 3 from the N64.
Yeah.
They did these really great remakes, and Turok 2 in particular benefited from it because Turok 2, that's another game. You go back and try to play the original, you can't. It's unplayable because the controls are so broken. And in the remake, they completely took care of that. The character no longer feels like he weighs 10 tons. You can actually aim without the fucking crosshairs moving around all over the place.
Yeah.
Jumping has been fixed. It's no longer these tiny jumps where he falls short because he weighs 10 fucking tons. He's sped up because he's so slow in the original. Like, they've fixed it. They've taken all these mostly controller problems and they fixed them. And the remaster on Steam is brilliant. That needed a remaster. So did Resident Evil 4. You go back, you try to play the original, and you're like, I can't play this, man. Okay, when you've played modern FPS, you can't go back and play the original Resident Evil 4. You just can't. And that's why they need a remaster. But why the fuck would you remaster these old movies that are already great? There's no justification.
Yeah, well, and the other issue is that, I mean, they have to go back because they know that those are proven. But then you look at the new stuff. Like, I don't know if you paid attention to this game that just came out the beginning of last week, High Guard. It was announced at the end of the Game Awards, so it got a bunch of shit because Jeff Keighley hyped it up like this amazing game, and it's a fucking tower defense, base builder, hero shooter. It's a live service 3v3. It's an amalgam of a bunch of other shit that these people have seen. And that's what you're getting. That's why they have to you will see more remakes because they don't know what to come up with. They don't know how to Taco Bell movies anymore. We're like, well, it's the same ingredients, but we just put them together different. So now they're just going to go back and like, well, you guys liked this movie in the 90s, so we're just going to redo it. But we don't understand what really made it great. So we're going to give you a shell and hope and then be offended when you don't like it. Like Elio, we gave you an original movie and you didn't like it. Fuck you
it was
guys.
your fault. It was your fault the movie sucked, Greg. You did that.
I did.
Despot is bigly wrong in that RE4. Well, look, man, I'm just giving my honest opinion as a gamer. Like, I'm not reviewing it. I will never review games because I just want them for myself. I don't want them to turn in for me what has become movies for me, where it's kind of like work now. I just want to keep games as something that I enjoy. Although in future streams, I'd like to do a wee new segment, Greg, where we just talk about like what we are playing and what we recommend recently. That'd be nice.
It would be fun.
But that's about it. I'm never going to review games, so I'm not claiming to be any sort of authority on gaming. Just my personal experiences as a gamer. I went back and I played the original Resident Evil 4. And like I played it as a kid and I loved it, but when I went back to try to replay it, it was fucking unplayable because of the controls. Got the remaster on Steam and had a great time. So that's just my personal experience. If you disagree, that's fine. It's not like with movies where if I say something, I'm right, and if you disagree, you're wrong. It's not like that with games. You're allowed to disagree with me. You're not allowed to disagree with me on movies. Fantastic Four. So this is a perfect example of a Marvel movie that just evaporates from your brain 5 minutes after you saw it.
Yeah. It's also a great example of how idiots cannot write smart characters, because Reed is easily the worst part of the movie because it's dumb people trying to write a smart guy, and it doesn't work at all. And their super genius character was like, what if we have a black and yellow warning striped triangle with a pumpkin seat just sitting in the middle of it, and we're all tucked behind some shelter watching? The bad guy will fall for that. That's clearly not a fucking trap setup. Like, what?
And the bad guy is an intergalactic being who's 1 million years old, and he falls for the fucking rabbit trick. Like the rabbit. Look, let's put a little carrot down, and we'll put a rope around it, and then the rabbit will be. By the way, not every rabbit is filled by that. There's some rabbits who catch on. Jesus Christ, man. But yeah, the super being intergalactic demon or god is fooled by a trick that a 5-year-old would notice. It's just, I can't even with this shit. And the fact that people, the fact that this shit got praised. Oh man.
Ship birth. What if Sue has birth on a ship? What if we do that?
Oh, hold on a minute. Wait. Why are you bringing a woman who is 9 months pregnant onto a fucking space launch? Don't you think that might be a bad idea? Maybe leave her at home with a midwife and a doctor, seeing as you're rich. I mean, if I was the richest man or the smartest man in the world, I don't reckon I'd bring my 9 months pregnant wife on a spaceship. It's like, you stay at home, sweetheart. We've got a nice private doctor for you to take care of you and a midwife. There you go. That's us. We're away to space now. It's like, what the fuck?
This movie made Fan Four Stick look not as bad. It's still bad, but it didn't look as bad anymore with this.
The characterization was so milk toast. Like everyone was like, Rockman was kind of just boring and mid, and Reed Richards was just a slightly intense version of Pedro Pascal, and the nice lady was a nice lady, and Fireboy was not even fiery. He was just kind of, he's supposed to have a fiery personality, and he's just, meh.
Well, he didn't want to be a womanizer. They didn't want to be like the old Chris Evans version that was problematic. So now he's just weird.
Speaking of Fan Four Stick, what's his name? Sinners, using Sinners.
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan.
Even he couldn't save that. Well,
he couldn't save the movie, but he was a fucking far better. What's that character's name?
Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm. He was a far better Johnny Storm than this guy. I mean, obviously it's not because of the actor, just the material wasn't there. But at the same time, Michael B. Jordan was a far better Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
He was that because he actually had a fiery personality. That's the fucking point.
Yeah. I mean, anyway. That's it. It look, not to shit on old comics, but just they weren't going for high art. I mean, old comics were not trying to be super deep. There wasn't trying to be a bunch of layers and shit. Yeah. He's a guy who has fire powers, and he's a young, fiery hotshot. The shit was not hard. Why are you trying to outthink that? Like,
yeah, and we haven't even talked about the fucking Silver Surfer. Like, I know comic book fans were really annoyed at that because it was like quite an iconic design, and they decided to go with Plain Jane, the actress, whatever her name is, the sort of resident Plain Jane of Hollywood. And she was again very milquetoast, very dull, very sort of disassociated from the character, like she was on autopilot. This movie was fucking ass.
It was just boring, and that's, I think, the biggest sin that you can ever say about it, especially a superhero movie. It just was boring. There was far too much exposition.
We don't even need to get into Reed Richards' ridiculous plan of jumping the entire planet. Like, there are a billion other things that you could at least try before you get to that.
Yeah,
that is so dumb. Like, how about We can try to transport, the bad guy's ship, get that out of there. Or, we can send an ambassador with a few nuclear weapons on board. I mean, I'm not saying it'll work, but can we at least throw some fucking shit at the wall to see what sticks?
Yeah. It just,
Christ.
his character turn was crazy. And like when you can't get a bro relationship right, the Thing and Johnny, that should be the easiest part of the movie. Like if everything else fails, it's always easy to do a buddy guy, hey bro, we tell jokes about each other, whatever. Like that chemistry is one of the easiest things to capture. That's not hard. And they still failed that. And that tells you how terrible the writing and acting was. Everybody's phoning it in completely. If you can't even get two dudes to just look like they're having fun with each other, what else could you possibly get right?
I mean, it's done. Where was the general who said, hey, what about we go to this Galactus guy, right? And we say, Galactus, we surrender, bro. In fact, you can eat the whole planet. In fact, we got these giant metal cigars for you. And they're gigantic sort of missile-shaped cigars. We're going to transport them to your ship, and you can smoke them right up, bro. Something like that. I mean, if he'll fall for the bunny trap, maybe he'll fall for letting 100 nukes into his ship. Like, it's just, oh, Christ. This movie was, and the fact that people actually gave this one a pass.
It was Bugs Bunny shit.
Just
He's
shocking.
not hiding in there. Don't
By
look
the
in
way,
there, Jack.
chat, we want to be fair because a lot of people said they liked this movie. Did anybody in the chat really like this movie, or did they think that it deserved the smoke it got blown up its ass?
I haven't seen anybody liking this one. Superman, I gave like a solid 7. Everybody in my family gave like a solid 7. We had a fun time in the theater. Like it's a fun theater watch, but I, haven't thought about it ever again. And I, there's a lot of issues with it, but it's fine. It was fine. Like we had a good time with some popcorn. This, we actually did leave the theater pretty bored. Like didn't even enjoy it in the moment. It was very meh. And I think that was kind of across the board how people felt.
See, a couple of people think it was mid. Most people think it was shite. That's about it. One guy accused me of hating everything, but hey, when everything stops being shit, I'll stop hating everything. But I have said I've liked some of the movies.
I think we've disagreed once on Thunderbolts, and I think it sounds like we're gonna disagree one more time on Running Man, because I liked that one. That was a fun one to me.
Okay. Well, Together is another horror movie, which is a pretty decent. I think this is actually a debut movie, so I like to cut these debut movies some slack. If you want to know why, listen to my debut album. That's why I cut debut production slack. So this one, pretty good. Some really interesting stuff going on. A little bit dumb in parts. It's a little bit forced. But as far as, debut horror productions go, what that suggests the director might have some better stuff coming down the line if he's able to realize his talent. Yeah, pretty solid. There's a lot of mystery here, which, to be honest, doesn't really resolve in a particularly satisfying way. People have accused it of having woke themes. Not really. Kind of, actually. Yeah, a little bit. It's there, but who knows? It's very well acted, and some of the scenes are really gross in a fun way. So it's worth watching if you're really into horror, but do bear in mind it's a debut production and it's a bit rough around the edges. It's not fully satisfying. It's not great. I really can't get into details because if I do, I will just begin spoiling the movie. It's that kind of movie where it starts out with a lot of mystery. There's one big mystery in particular, and as the movie progresses, it unravels the mystery. So I can't really get into too much of the plot, but pretty good. And James Franco's brother, Dave Franco, is the lead, and he's pretty good in this. So yeah, worth watching. Just bear in mind, it's good, not great, and it does have problems. And that brings us to Bad Guys 2, which I did not see. Did you see this, Greg?
I did, and this is one of my favorites of the year. I thought it was excellent. Everybody had a great time. We have watched it since, and it was good on the second watch too. And that's hard, like when you're doing reviews, like it's always hard to tell if you're going to like something later. That's always something that's missing out. And this is one that we watched later, and we loved it. I think that I think that this was when they changed. And while Disney is unable to change a movie mid-production without you seeing the obvious cuts and stitches and where they were clearly going to have, a gay boy get molested by aliens, This one, if you'll remember, the original trailers had the, you know, the girls seemed like they were pretty much going to boss these guys around, and it looked like it was going down that same avenue. And some of those lines from the trailers were not in the movie, but it didn't feel like a movie that was cut later by test audience reaction and people realizing, oh shit, we can't have Phoebe Waller-Bridge punch Indiana Jones out and take his job over and retcon all of history, so we better fix something at the last minute. It was a fun time. It's a fun heist movie. The relationships between the bad guys are still there. I mean, yeah, everybody in my family loved it, and they've watched it since. They loved it then too. So it's not as good as the first, but I can't think of a lot of sequels that are. So This was as close as I think you're going to get with a sequel that still lived up to the spirit of the first and was still as entertaining as the first and didn't screw everybody from the first movie like Joker 2 or Last of Us with Joel, or any of the million things they could have done to say, haha, you like Mr. Wolf? Well, fuck you, we screwed him, or what. They didn't do any of that, which I love. So
yeah, well, there you go. I'll probably watch this on one of our next movie nights. Family movie night, we'll have this on. So if you do want a decent family movie, check this one out.
Yeah, it's a fun
one. I didn't see The Naked Gun. Did you see this?
I want to, because I crapped on this, I think, I can't remember which video, but I basically said, this looks like crap. I mean, it just looks like they're trying to, what if we do Caddyshack? And you just can't rehash that magic. But I've heard nothing but good reviews about this. So
yeah, this is definitely on my to-watch list.
Yeah, I can't watch it with the kids. I think there's some inappropriate stuff for kids. It's kind of a racier PG-13, but this is, I'm gonna watch it because I've heard a lot of pleasantly surprised reviews.
All right, cool. Weapons. So we talked a little bit about this earlier. All right, now here's the big. Have you seen Weapons, Greg?
No, I haven't.
Do you mind if I spoil it for you?
No, you go right ahead. Actually, I have to go slice up a brisket real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. So, guys, just bear in mind, I'm going to be spoiling Weapons here. So if you haven't seen it, I do recommend you watch it, and I will timestamp everything. Yes, I am going to go through this video and timestamp all 50 fucking movies. But if you don't want this spoiled, just click along to the next timestamp. Or if you're watching this live right now, maybe go do something else for a couple of minutes. So basically, the big problem with this movie, again, major spoilers, is that the feds would have come into the town and they would have found the children immediately, because 17 kids, or however many kids it is, they go missing. They all belong in the same class. They all go missing on the same night. That's not a local story. That's an international story. That's the headline of every major media outlet the next day. There's massive pressure on the president. Like, every single authority has massive pressure to find these kids. And you're going to have huge conspiracy theories erupting from the woodwork that this is like some sort of military experiment, or it's a government-run pedophile ring. So there's going to be huge pressure to get this sorted out. The president's going to visit the town. The feds are going to come in, and they're going to search every square inch of every single building in the vicinity where the kids went missing, and they'll find them very quickly. The idea that they wouldn't find these, especially when they wouldn't find them in the house they found them in, is absurd. That is so fucking dumb. And the mystery is so glorious. It's such a juicy mystery that all the internet sleuths are going to be all over it. You're going to have 1,000 influencers and from SleuthTube showing up the next day, getting all the footage from all the cars and all the security cameras. They'll won't even ask for it. They'll go to people's houses and say, look, I'll pay you $1,000 for your security footage of that night from your car in your house. They'll get all the footage. All the online sleuths are going to pour over it, and they're going to say all the kids they all ran in the same direction that intersect here. This mystery gets solved in a few days at most. The idea that it can go on for months unsolved is ridiculous. And think of the stench. The kids are all in the house being fed by the boy, and they're all shitting and pissing themselves in the spot. Like, no amount of cleaning is going to kill that stench, right? You'll be able to smell that the second you walk in. Like, the cops walk in there and they don't smell the shit of 17 kids in the basement. Are you out of your fucking mind? So that's ridiculous. The plot is just absurd. The premise is absurd. And it has this really clunky exposition dialogue starting at the start and the end. Okay? This is not the best horror movie of 2025. It's not even close to the best, but it is a good movie. It is fun. It does have a good mystery that unravels over time. It has some brilliant performances, and it's very well directed and very well paced, and it has some great scenes. So you have to be careful when people are telling you that this is some sort of horror masterpiece, or that it's the best movie, or that it's been overlooked. It's incredible. No, it's a badly overrated movie, but it's still quite good. It's there's definitely some fun there, and there's some fun performances, good scenes. I would recommend it, but just temper your expectations, because it's definitely due a bit of revisionism. This movie, it needs people to come in and say, lads, calm down. It's not that good. Anyway. Red Sonja, I'm happy to skip over this. Greg, did you see Girl Boss the movie?
I didn't.
Great, neither did I. Let's move on. Nobody did. This was just the most unasked for sequel of the year. See, it was good the first time he did this when he played against type. No one wanted him to do it again. And it's another one of those action movies. Every single action beat in this movie, every one is a trope. It's been done before. And it's not like Bob Odenkirk looks good performing action scenes. Like, he looks slow, he looks old, he looks clunky, he looks like he shouldn't really be there, which is why it only works in a comic context. But the problem is, the action choreography in this isn't comic in nature. It's kind of serious. It's the same action choreography you would see in a more serious movie. And they try to dress it up with like when he goes into the arcade and he has a fight scene, he'll take the hammer from the whack-a-mole and he'll hit the guy with it. That's not enough. Like, you need to do genuinely comic slapstick action choreography, and picking up a hammer from a whack-a-mole isn't going to fucking cut it, man. That's just way too lazy. You got to do. At other times, the action is very serious. It's not slapstick at all. It's just sort of secondhand John Wick. So this movie is atrocious, total fucking garbage action slop, and it should never have been made. And I'm so glad it bombed, and it bombed massively. Like, 5 people saw this. It came out on digital like 5 minutes after it hit theaters. So I'm glad this franchise is dead. It deserves it. Did you see this, Greg?
No, you know what? Weirdly, I haven't seen the first one, and I know that's like weird because it's apparently amazing. It's one of those. It's been in the queue for a long time, and I just haven't seen it.
So I recently released a movie, or not a movie. I recently released a video about biopics, and one thing I think I hit upon in that video was just how fatigued people are with these fucking biopics, these prestige biopics, these Oscar bait biopics, these, give me awards biopics. And that is, I've not seen this movie, but look, man, I had to watch like 20 really god-awful biopics to make that video. This is, I can tell to look at it, this is just Oscar bait shite.
Yeah. And he's going to go through a tragedy, and and Emily Blunt's crying in the corner because it just, it's,
I think, go ahead.
Rather than talk about that, I just want to show you the beautiful smoke lines of this brisket. We don't have to talk about Dwayne Johnson. It's juicy. I'm going to put this over a baked potato once we're done. It's just some garlic salt, and it's the flat. I cut mine in half. I don't smoke mine whole. This is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's done on a Traeger.
I have much more interest in that brisket than I do in, Dwayne Johnson's latest Oscar bait rubbish. Oh,
so lovely. It's from a local cow, from a friend of mine. I mean, this is just it's grade A. It's grade A meat. All right. So, oh God, this crap.
It's just Disney slop the sci-fi movie. So it does everything wrong. Basically, it inverts the basic premise, whereby instead of humans going into this matrix, it's the matrix coming to the world. And it's like, no, it's not. That's not what's happening here. We don't want that. That already you've broken the lore. You've broken the franchise. That's not what this is about. Well, it's about. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. You finish up.
Well, I was going to say the whole point of it is escapism, right? Like it's to what if you get too into this escapist element of video games, you get lost in them. This came from the 80s sort of arcade craze where kids were going in there and they were spending all day in these arcades, and adults at the time, this is what people forget, they couldn't wrap their heads around this. It's like, why are these kids wasting their days in these ridiculous fucking arcades with these shitty little pixel screens? To adults of the time, it was truly bizarre, which is why the original Tron made sense, because it's about a man losing himself in this weird little game world, and that's kind of what it was about. It was coming from this bizarre cultural moment, the arcade the peak of arcade gaming in the 80s. So it made sense. And this movie does the total opposite. Like, that's all gone. But there's nothing here. There's no meaning behind it. And there's a lot you could do, as in, how can we communicate the modern experience of gaming in a new Tron movie, right? And actually have Tron in it, maybe. So in terms of the foundation of the movie, there's nothing there. Tron's not here. Jeff Bridges shows up for 2 seconds to collect a paycheck. Of course, the guy from the last movie he's just been Luke Skywalkered out. You know, Luke Skywalker has vanished. That's literally what happens at the start. They do the Luke Skywalker has vanished trope. Only this time they're very honest about it. It's just Luke Skywalker has vanished and been replaced by an Asian girl boss.
We don't know where he is.
It's purest Disney.
Well, and it's been a while since I've seen that one, but when he left Tron at the end of the movie, didn't he take Olivia Munn or whoever? Didn't she come out with him? Wasn't she in?
Yeah. She came out and she was supposed to help, like, cure cancer or something, but then they thought, nah, fuck all that, because Disney.
Yeah, but I thought she was, if I'm remembering the plot, she was in the machine, and then she escaped with him at the end, and then they ran off to be together. And then this movie starts off with, things can't come out of the machine because they'll die after 29 minutes. And it's like,
it doesn't matter. Like, what you're forgetting, Greg, is that Disney. None of this matters because Disney. It's so tropey, and it does so many of the horrible tropes that people are sick of. It does the complete subversion of everything that made the original good. Let's get rid of all the original characters and have new, exciting, more female, more empowered characters. The old guy shows up for 5 minutes to talk about how old he is. It's just, it's a lot of the same shitty tropes that you saw in the 2010s with stuff like the Star Wars trilogy. And they're kind of speed running them in this. And it just sucks. And none of it really even makes any sense. Like, even this idea, well, we've made a soldier which survives for 29 minutes outside of the Matrix, right? That's perfect. The military would absolutely love that, because you can take these 29-minute soldiers, totally disposable assets, send them on the mission, and they just blow up, not a trace of evidence left behind. Do you think for a second that the military gives a shit about the lives of some computer game being? What does it matter if they come back? You can print more. You can literally print infinity 29-minute soldiers. Yeah. That's better than soldiers which last forever. Because when they come back, what are you going to do with them? Give them a fucking pension? No, you want them to blow up. It's perfect. It is so perfect. Like, if I'm the US military, I'm like, great. Tell you what we're going to do now. We're going to have fucking aircraft carrier printers. They're going to print off our 29-minute soldiers. We're going to airdrop them in 10 minutes. They're going to take out the targets. Then they're going to blow up. I love it. Yeah.
And they'll just be dust. There will be no evidence whatsoever.
That is everything the military wants. So the premise is broken. It's got that trope character, you know what I'm talking about. The devil may curse CEO. He likes to put his feet up on the table. Oh, shut up, mother! I know what I'm talking about. You guys get me a cappuccino. Hurry up, get it in here. I got some stuff to do. Let me do some genius coding over the course of the next minute because I'm just so intelligent. Did you know when I was 6 years old that I invented a time machine? Do you know that character?
except that make him a young white guy and he's super cocky. He's so cocky.
It's that fucking trope, and they did the same thing in Alien Earth, and it's atrocious. It's horrible. Stop that. The trope is dead. Don't do it again.
And how are you still telling the story of cocky guy invents an AI and then the AI doesn't listen to him anymore? Like, how? We're still telling that story. We're still doing that where he's like, wait, you got to listen to me. And Jared Leto is like, but why do I have to listen to you? Which is how he delivered it. And
Jared Leto's performance was not good.
Like, that's the film. Plot we're still doing. Like, what? Come on. You didn't see this coming, man. Like, we're doing a movie about the dangers of AI in 2026, and it being this bland is just so damn stupid. It was the dumbest villain ever. It was, you know what? Earlier we were talking about this with the AI thing. It's an older series. It's a book trilogy called Scythe, and it is a different take where people transfer everything over to AI, and then AI is great. Nobody's hungry. People live forever. And then they have to have these people called scythes that kill people, because otherwise there would just be infinite human beings. So it follows these people that basically their job is kill people. per quotas. And it's an interesting take because AI is not evil, and I'm sorry, Dave, you can't do that. But then also it kind of explores how people, when they have everything, they just get bored as hell. They can learn literally anything through this AI. Everybody can be rich, but they don't, because we're just people. People are just people no matter what you do. I actually bought that trilogy recently, and I'm going to finish the second and third books because I'm into it's like a YA, like a romance kind of a thing. Like it was written in 2010, I think, when the YA dystopian stuff was still happening, but it's actually really good. But this movie, they're just like, what if AI happened and then it just wanted to be free, and it was kind of childlike but also really badass at the same time, and then it didn't want to obey anymore, and nobody saw that coming, and it was played by Jared Leto.
It's like they sat in a room and said, what if we made Tron, but it sucked and everything sucked except the music. The music was awesome.
It was. That was the one thing they really captured, was they captured the look of Tron, and like the deep bass roll and the synthesizer music as Leto is slowly coming up and everything's cool looking.
Yeah, that was the reason it didn't make my bottom 10 of the year, because the music was too good and it did look really good. Like a lot in some of the scenes, that nice cinematography, really nice contrast and stuff. But just shame the script was dog shit. Yeah. After the Hunt is Luca Guadagnino needs to go to director jail, man. He's made 2 box office bombs in a row now, and they're both terrible. And so it was Queer and this after the Hunt. And I watched 20 minutes of this and I just couldn't anymore, man. It's a bunch of fart sniffing academics sitting around They're essentially sitting around deconstructing old philosophers and psychologists. So they're saying things like, Freud was a misogynist. Well, of course Freud was a misogynist. They were all misogynists. And I just had to listen to that for 20 minutes, and then I couldn't take anymore. I just couldn't. This movie is fucking awful, and I'm glad it bombed. And it was a gigantic bomb. It cost, I don't know, 75 million, and it made like 5 cents. So I'm so glad it bombed. It also looked like shit. The cinematography wasn't good. Even the audio mixing wasn't good from the parts that I did see. So this is just the worst of Luca Guadagnino. And
you just got to wonder how these things cost this much to make.
I'm beginning to think maybe there's some money laundering involved in this.
It's got to be.
Because why would you give... So he directed Queer. Queer was $58 million. It made 6 cents. Why would you give all this money to a guy who just lost that? And then this cost 75 million. It has no commercial appeal whatsoever. It makes 10 cents. And I just think there's got to be money laundering involved in this, man. Honestly, like the fucking IRS need to take a good look at Luca Guadagnino. I'm telling you. Shelby Oaks. Fair play to Chris Stuckman for making a movie, and it made money. Actually, it cost 2 million, it made 6 million or something. So fair play to him. I haven't seen it. Maybe it's a masterpiece. But
I was hoping you'd seen it, because it's on. Just I want to see it just for morbid curiosity to see what Chris. I don't want to be mean to bad movies Stuckman made in a movie. I heard it got ravaged, but I think part of that was just because everybody hates Chris Stuckman now. So I'm interested to see it. I was hoping you had.
He got a little bit of respect from me for making this movie. I thought, you know what? Whatever else the guy is, he's the worst YouTube. He's the worst critic on YouTube, and he's a coward. But at least he went and made his movie and made his dream come true, and he marketed it reasonably well, and it made some money. So fair play to him for that. And then he went and advertised gambling to children, and that was just it for me. That was
I saw that clip.
I have zero respect for this guy now. I don't even think he should be on YouTube after that, honestly.
No,
that was disgusting.
Horrible.
What a loser. And he just doesn't care anymore. Like, he will take the money from the fucking exploitative gambling corporations that want to get your teenagers addicted to gambling. He'll do this in the middle of a gambling epidemic that is destroying a lot of young people. He's a piece of shit. He is. He doesn't give a fuck about his audience. He doesn't care about his work. He just wants to be a prestige movie maker. Fuck that guy.
That is, I mean, look, I've had sponsors that I don't 100% use all the time. Every now and then I'll take one that's, it's all right. It's not something I personally use, but I'll take the contract. That's fine. But like, and when I get emails from like Temu or fucking, I actually have for real gotten emails from Raid Shadow Legends. Like, there's just some shit you just don't do because it makes you look like a hack. You're going to pitch the game. No amount that they paid him can be worth the loss in audience that something like that will do to you.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, this is what I don't do paid sponsorship for a bunch of reasons, but one of them is that I take a very long-term business perspective into my channel. I don't want people to sort of click off a long video because they couldn't be fucked watching a sponsorship, right? Because if I'm watching a video that's kind of mid and a sponsorship comes in, that's it. Nah, fuck it, we're done here. I'll watch something else. And my videos are very long, so I need the viewers to stay in there, right? So I don't have sponsorship interrupting. And I think long-term, that's a good strategy. But short-term, I'm losing out on some, let's say $1,000 around December from, some Raid Shadow Legends or something.
No, at your length, it would be, you'd have a hard time making sponsorships make any kind of sense for your length and frequency of videos. It would be terrible. You'd have to ask for stuff that they're not gonna give you.
But then I'm thinking about
some shit you don't do. It's like when Daniel Green started pitching sex toys, like his audience ran away too. And now he's a degenerate and, whatever, but there's a lot going on there. But the same thing, when you start pitching for Adam and Eve and shit, like, it's just, it gets gross.
Yeah, he's on there pitching something that his audience is going to hate. It got his video like age restricted anyway. So any ad revenue he was going to make on that video was gone. Probably that alone ended up a net loss. Like, he actually lost money advertising something that damaged his reputation. Like, the guy's a moron. It's not just bad at what he does. He's a stupid person. Anyway, fuck that guy. Let's move on.
Next movie.
I like Sydney Sweeney, but this is another one of these stinking Oscar bait movies. I will watch it, but again, bro, I've seen it. I've seen this movie. I've seen it many times because I watched all those shit biopics, okay? I'll watch it, but look, I know exactly what it is. It's just some awards bait rubbish. And look, just so everyone knows, everyone involved in this movie knew it was going to lose money. They knew that the American public weren't that interested in seeing the rise of some lesbian boxer. Like, they don't care. It's an awards bait movie from the studio perspective. If you win lots of awards, that gives you clout in the industry. So if you're a prestige actor and you're thinking about whether or not to sign on to this film production's movie, well, that film production has, 12 Oscars, and it also has 8 Golden Globes, and it's got a bunch of other film awards. It gives them prestige. It makes it easier for them to assemble talent. It makes them appear legit to talent, to people in the industry. So it's worth losing money on these movies if you can get lots of awards. And that's exactly what Christy is. It's just awards fodder. It's I don't know if it's good or not. It doesn't fucking matter. No one cares if it's good or not. It's just there to win awards. Anyway, Predator Badlands, I'm pretty happy to skip because I did such a thorough review of it in my worst movies of the year. Greg, any parting thoughts?
Nah, haven't seen it yet. It was one that some of them, there were so many bad movies this year that like I can only make so many videos. And there are some that the only reason I would watch some of these is to make a video. And so if I know that I'm not going to have time, I'm just like, fuck it, I'm not going to watch it just to hate it and then not make money. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, no. So I skipped it.
Yeah. You like this one. I still haven't seen this because it came in at the end of the year when there were just a billion things going on, and I haven't got around to it. But tell me what you thought.
So I haven't seen the original with Schwarzenegger. So I do want to watch that one. I want to compare the two. What's that?
It's great.
Yeah, I want to see that one. I'm going to compare the two because this one is, look, it's very similar to Thunderbolts. Like, I'm going to give it this kind of half-hearted praise where it's not a film. I don't think it's trying to be, epic or whatever. It's a fun time. It's supposed to be a spectacle, and you go in, you enjoy it. And it's one of those where I hate to use this as praise, but like, you don't have to turn your brain entirely off, but you just you watch it, you enjoy it. It is what it is. There are one or two critiques that I could give it. Like later on in the movie, he ends up in the suburbs, which to me, that was the weakest part, I think, because the existence of the suburbs and the space that they show you hurts the Judge Dredd mega city, everybody's poor, dystopian future aesthetic that they had going on at the beginning of the movie. You're like, why do people live in these mega cities when the suburbs and all this green grassland exists? That doesn't make any sense. But other than that, Glenn Powell does a good job in this one. I mean, it's right there. It is what it is on its face. It's a mega corporation that owns this game. He's running for his life. They lie about him. It's all for the ratings, yada, yada. Oh, goodness. What is that guy's name in the top left there? Why can't I think of his name?
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, Brolin might be better than Powell in this. He's like a side character. He's the guy that runs the network, and he steals every single scene that he's. I mean, it's Josh Brolin. He's really fantastic and everything, but he steals it. I recommend everybody watch it. It's a little violent, but it's a lot of fun. And it didn't. You might be thinking it's going to do a lot of capitalism bad. Like some of that's inherent just in the subject. Like you can't make a Running Man movie without having, I mean, obviously it's a giant corporation that exploits people, and kills them for money and in ratings and stuff with the promise of riches that never actually happen. But they don't lean into that like you would assume that they will. And overall, it's just a really, really great time. And good guys win in the end, and it's good. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to what I'm interested to watch it now because my expectation was that it was very poor, but having heard your side of it, I'm going to be more open-minded and I'm going to be looking out for some of the things that you talked about. So I'll be interested to see that. Oh, did you see Wicked for Good?
I haven't yet. I liked the first one. I just haven't gotten to it.
Wicked for Good was so bad. My God, it stank. The first hour. Here's when I saw it in the cinema, the first hour, it's really slow. The music sucks, a lot of it, because they wasted all the bangers in the first movie. Like there's not many good songs left for this part. So what they did was they repurposed songs from the first movie and just changed the lyrics. And it was really obvious and really cringy. And the lyrics were just, they felt very shoehorned in. And it stank. It was just awful for the first hour. It got so bad that I went for a piss, and as I was sort of lingering outside the theater, I thought, man, I really want to go back in and watch this. I seriously considered leaving because I was so fucking bored in the first hour. And by the way, I really liked the first movie in this, and I decided to just stick it out. It got a little bit better, not much, a little bit better. Production and costume and hair and makeup's all excellent. Cinematography's fine. Music's shite. The acting's good, I guess. The plot is very boring, and it's a massive letdown after the first movie. And in fact, this pretty much killed any chance it has to take off as a franchise because it was huge diminishing. It still made money, but it was huge diminishing returns from the first movie.
Yeah.
And because it was that much worse, it was a really bad movie. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this franchise. So overall, I think they'll be. Go ahead, Greg.
It just feels so greedy to make it 2 movies, especially when the first movie felt so dragged out.
It was, and that's really what went wrong here. This should have just been 1 movie because, I mean, the amount of filler, the amount of padding, the amount of long, boring scenes that just shouldn't have been in there. You could really tell that they had to stretch this one out just to get it at theater length.
Yeah.
So it suffered horribly. They did well though. I mean, they made over $1 billion across those 2 movies. So they squeezed this lemon dry, but there's nothing left now. If they're smart, they will leave it at that. Don't do what you did with Joker, whereby you make a sequel and you end up losing all the profit from the first movie. Just take your fucking W and leave. All right, that's it. Cash out your chips now.
Yeah.
Did you see Zootopia 2?
Weirdly, no. I got busy at the end of November and have stayed busy. Then I went on vacation and it's one of those things that we were busy for like several weeks in a row. Never got a chance to see it, much to my son's chagrin. He was very upset. And then it got to the point where I was like, well, I can't do a review and I do want to see it, but I don't know. And I don't know if we're all going to go to the theater. Yeah, I'm going to wait for it to get on rental. It's just, I don't know, bunch of bad circumstance. My 2 daughters went to see it with some friends. They enjoyed it. They gave me good reports, said it was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to streaming this one. I really wish I could have seen it in theaters though.
All right. Well, the last movie we're going to talk about is Avatar: Fire and Ash, which I saw, and it was actually worse than I thought it would be. I expected that it would be a bad movie, but it just repurposes huge chunks of Avatar 1 and 2. It throws in a plot line, kind of a Bonnie and Clyde plot line between Quaritch and this crazy fire lady, and they have a band of followers. It's not really bad Na'vi. It's like one very small tribe of Na'vi whose home is destroyed in a volcanic explosion, and they kind of go bad as a result of that because, they lose their connection to nature, and that's what makes them bad. Wink, wink. It's dreadful. It recycles that horrible whale subplot from the first movie. There's a really bad actor he plays a character called Spider. The action beats, it follows the exact same series of dramatic action beats from the end of the first movie, that big climactic battle. It ends with the Activate Pandora cheat code that they enter to defeat the good guys. And, the evil blue apes win again. I fucking hate this movie.
So I haven't seen it yet. My daughters went and saw it, my older ones, and they're pretty positive on most movies. Like, they can just kind of have a good time. Because they're not YouTube critics, and even they were like, honestly, this gal in the poster, you could pretty much cut her out of the movie, and a lot of it would still make perfectly good. Like, you could cut an hour out of this movie, they said, and it would still be perfectly. You wouldn't miss it at all. It was just so inefficient.
It's going to be another big fan editor favorite. So once this comes out on digital, the fan editors are going to go at it like piranha on a corpse. They will just cut this thing to shreds. But even then, the problem is, even if you do that, all you're left with is just big chunks of Avatar 1 and 2 that have been repurposed and repackaged. That's really all this is. There's a couple of escape scenes, and then the Bonnie and Clyde thing, and that's about it, like the evil Na'vi. But that is such a small part of this movie. And what I wanted to see was a full-on fucking Na'vi civil war. I wanted to see Apocalypto on Pandora. That's what I wanted. I wanted to see this big evil Na'vi empire that had risen out of the jungle and was just grabbing up Na'vi to take them back and sacrifice them to their god. And the humans don't necessarily want to get involved in the politics of this, but they have to get involved because what these fuckers are doing is so horrific. Like, that's what I wanted. And instead I got this piece of trash. Man. Chat, did anybody like this? Just go ahead, Greg. But if you like this in the chat, let me know. Because I'd love to hear the other side of it.
The issue is that they're still trying to do the exact same colonialism bad. They're still doing the noble savage thing, and like you say, like, it's they're 16 and 17, they have their own opinions. The issue is they're still trying to do the whole noble savage thing. So the Na'vi can never really be super duper evil, and they keep having to do the humans bad, colonialism bad. And so they can't do anything like what you're talking about, which ironically enough hurts the whole story, because the Na'vi then are this monolith. So how are you going to tell an interesting story about an entire world where everybody's pretty much the same, except for this little tiny pocket because of a volcano plot device? But it just, they have to get away from this basic ass colonialism bad story and tell a complex story, but they can't do it. They can't have nuance. Hell, they can't even come up with names other than unobtainium.
Yeah. I'm trying to invite people to give their opinion on Avatar, because it did make $1.4 billion, and generally speaking, audiences responded positively to the movie. So I'm curious as to where is the positive reaction coming from, which is why I invited the chat in. But I'm not finding much love for it at all in the chat. So that is that. We're just going to finish on some starred comments. Give me a second. So, yeah, let's see here. Zodlander, I wonder if Avengers Doomsday will remember that Galactus world ship still orbits Fantastic Four Earth. Probably not. Shining Diamond, I was watching the movie 48 Hours, and I wanted to ask Greg if he thinks the buddy cop genre can ever get revived in a medium other than film.
Yeah, I don't think there's any problem with that at all. Like, you have a really recent example in Brooklyn Nine-Nine before that last season went completely off the rails. I think you can do a buddy cop thing. It just, you might want to get, I think the reason Brooklyn Nine-Nine works so well is because it's not just two people, and it's not just what's his face that plays Jake. God, why can't I think of that guy's name? To me, he's a lot like Will Ferrell. Like, I can't just have him for just him screaming and being goofy. It's funny for about a minute, and then he needs to be diluted. And the rest of the cast does that. That's why Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of my favorite shows. It works really well because it is a buddy cop thing, but it's a larger cast, and it it gives stuff room to breathe. So you're not just doing the same odd couple joke over and over and over again. So as long as they can get outside of the mind frame that it has to be two people doing, Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, yes, absolutely, you can do buddy cop stuff.
In my opinion, Superman wasn't rewatchable. I loved it in the theater, but after I turned my brain on, it just felt like MCU slop, and it's not even MCU. I don't really think any superhero stuff is rewatchable these days because they're really just recycling tropes that you've seen a million times, and it's just boring now. They refuse to do anything fresh.
Yeah. What do you think's coming after Super? Like, what's the next big thing? You think westerns are coming back? You think
probably
you think we're going Eastern? Because
it's going to be video game adaptations. They take a long time to make, obviously, so they're not going to be able to churn them out like those superhero movies. Yeah. But you're going to get, I mean, already you had Minecraft make a lot of money. Mario movie made a lot of money. Super Mario World, I think, is coming out this year. The Galaxy, Zelda movie, they're all going to be massive hitters. So it's going to be, the main sort of flagship prestige productions. They won't come out in the same numbers as superhero movies, but the productions that people expect to be the billion-dollar productions, it'll be video game remakes. Won't be as many of them, but they will be the big flagship blockbusters. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what other ones other than like Nintendo. Anything Nintendo is going to make a ton because it doesn't matter. Nintendo, I don't know. People just can't. It makes me think I'm the crazy one because I think Nintendo sucks as a company. But weirdly enough, I think the Mario movie this year might actually be okay. I didn't like the last one, but I agree with you. I think the video game thing is going to be big for a while. And it's going to be a lot of member berries, unfortunately.
Yeah, bear in mind, Return to Silent Hill. We didn't say these movies would be good. I mean, Minecraft is not a good movie. The Mario Bros movie is not a good movie. I still don't think they have made a great video game movie. I don't think the curse of the video game movie has ever been broken. So, fuck, who knows what'll happen with that.
And I think right now we all owe you Bowl a big apology because it wasn't his fault. Okay, nobody can get the video game movies right.
Yeah. Gaming is finished. I mean, I'm not big into AAA slop at the minute. I don't have time for it, and I'm just like I say, the massive skill trees, the amount of time you have to invest in, and the expense of them. I couldn't be. The fact that they take up 400 trillion terabytes on my computer. I'm quite happy just to keep it simple and play easier, simpler games that are just fun. That's what I'm into at the minute. But yeah. I think that's it for our stream. So me and Greg will be with Dark Art tomorrow, I think. And then a week from now, we're going to do an Oscars stream in which we discuss all of the Oscars movies, the best picture nominees in detail. So stick around for that.
Yep.
And if you haven't checked out my Worst of Awards, do so. Greg, do you want to share anything?
Yeah, I had a recent one that I tried to get into some anime. I got on some emotional ones there. And there is an ad in that one that I
saw. Not your average ad. Brilliant.
It's not your average one.
Good. That was so good. I love where you did this kind of stop motion animation where you had like 3 pictures all moving. Yeah, and you layered them. That was really nice bit of animation. I love that.
I fed that to the editor and he made that magic happen. And I made my own anime, folks. It was fantastic.
Really good. The acting was brilliant in it as well. Like you're actually a genuinely good comic actor. Like you were great as Dr. Greg in what was that movie called?
Skin.
No. The one my movie.
Oh, I don't remember what you called it.
Can't even remember the name of my own movie. It was hold on. It's Edge of Groundhog. No. It was the racism parable. Whatever. You were great in it.
I appreciate that.
All right. So thanks everybody for listening, watching, whatever. And we will be back with our Oscar stream in about a week. Okay. All right. Thank you. And
see y'all then.
Have a great day.